some liveliness within the hall. Good morning. All right. I don't want to believe that the good morning is low because it's the chaplain. Good morning. Beautiful, beautiful. My duty is simply to usher us into the beginning of the program through a prayer, and you would join me as we close our eyes and take a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you this morning for such an opportunity. Your word has inspired in us that we should grow in all we do, and that includes leadership, and with no exception, student leadership as well. We need all the resources you could give to us through your spirit, through your word, and through your power to guide us into becoming what you have chosen for us for the good of humanity and the excellence in society. As we gather, we pray for strength for our speakers. We pray for wisdom and knowledge. We also ask for direction, and we ask that you grant us the grace to be able to understand and live out the things we learn. In Jesus' name have we prayed with thanksgiving. Amen. All right, so please permit me kindly before we sit, the Students Representative Council's chaplaincy lost one of our executive yesterday. And if you would, you would join me, have a moment of silence for my prayer secretary, Brother Paul Atibila, who left us yesterday at 8 a.m. 1 minute of silence. May his gentle soul rest in peace. Amen. Thank you very much.
Amen. And so may the gentle soul of our dear brother who we have lost rest in perfect peace. We believe that in the coming days we'll meet him again as our belief systems clearly tell us. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall be very brief on all the things we are doing. We are already behind time, and so we promise you, don't go before the end of the program, else you miss a whole lot. Take all the addresses that we are going to have, because I'm seeing great men and women in this auditorium today, and their experiences, I believe, would shape our thinking when it comes to leadership. At this point, we shall take a welcome address, and to do this, may I have the singular honor to invite the Nugs President, His Excellency Bismarck Owusu Echampon. Let's put our hands together for the President. Let's put our hands together for the President. Well, let's continue to do it. He is joining us here. Let's continue to do it.
Good morning, everyone. You're all welcome here. I'm very grateful for all of you being here. There is a game that has fascinated kings and commoners alike for over 1500 years. Not because it is complicated, but because it is honest. In chess, every piece has a purpose. Every move carries a consequence. And no player, no matter how gifted, wins alone. The pounds advance, the knights project, the bishop counsel, the queens execute. And the king is not the most powerful piece on the board, but the king is what the whole game is played for. Today, in this conference center, I see the entire board. I see our alumni, those who have already crossed to the other side, who have faced the middle game, who carry in their experience what no lecture theater ever fully taught. I see our student leaders, those who are mid-game right now, navigating institutions, representing people, making decisions that matter today. And I see all other students, the newest pieces on this board. It is easy to overlook, but a pound that survives, the pound that presses forward, that refuses to be taken off the board, becomes anything it chooses once on the other side. This is your story. This is your promise. That is why we are here. Distinguished guests, Honorable Dr. Yaose Edichum, who is yet to be here, former Minister for the Education, Member of Parliament for Bosomche constituency. Your presence tells us, every student in this room, that future is worth showing up for. We are deeply honored. Mr. Obeng Ajenimu Boateng, Director of Corporate Communications, Student Loan Trust Fund. You represent the living bridge between students, aspirations, and real opportunities. Thank you for being here. Our National Nugs President, His Excellency Rashid Ibrahim. We are so grateful for having you here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Nugs Leadership Conference and Alumni Connect 1.0. That number matters more than it may appear. It means this is the first. Nothing like this has been done before. Not here, not at this scale, not with this intention. It means that 50 years from now, when the history of student leadership at this university is written, when someone opens the archives and asks, where did this begin? They will find this room. They will find this morning, and they will find all of us here. This is not a small thing. This is a permanent thing. The theme of this conference is Bridging Generations for Collective Growth in Student Leadership. I want to say something about bridges. We often speak about building bridges as though bridge itself is the achievement. But a bridge is not the point. The crossing point is the point. A bridge only fulfills its purpose when someone walks across it. When someone who could not reach the other side now can. When someone who was stuck is now moving. For too long, student leadership has operated like a relay race with no baton. Each administration arrives, learns, builds, sacrifices, and then leaves. And the next administration arrives at starting line, not the midpoint. They relearn old lessons, they repeat old mistakes, they rebuild what was already standing. Progress does not compound, it restarts. We refuse that cycle. Today we build the first bridge, not a ceremonial bridge, not a bridge for photographs, but a functional bridge. A bridge of mentorship, institutional memory, of knowledge passed forward with intention. To our alumni, you are the proof. Proof that campus is not waiting room for life. Proof that what begins in these lecture halls echoes far beyond graduation day. To our student leaders, we are mid-game. The board is complex, the clock is running, and the stakes are not academics. I want to challenge ourselves today, not to lead louder, but lead deeper. Anyone can hold position, but a few build something that outlasts the tenor. And to our colleagues here, I know what some of you may be feeling this morning. Perhaps you are still finding your footing. Perhaps this campus still feels large and unfamiliar. Perhaps you are wondering what you are doing in this conference room. You are already in the game. We thank you all for honoring our invitation. God bless our university and God bless us all. Thank you.
Once again, let's put our hands together for the local Nugs president who has duly welcomed us to the auditorium. I've been told the Honorable former Minister for Education is here and would come in very, very soon. So the dignitaries and then all other people are going out there to meet him and welcome him into the auditorium. But before he comes in, I would like to seize this opportunity to introduce to us some dignitaries we have with us and who are going to do us the honor of helping make this program a successful one. And to begin with, I see a lot of departmental executives as well as JCRC executives around. So please, if you are a departmental president, kindly give us a wave and let's welcome you. I cannot mention all the departments. Let's put our hands together for all the departmental presidents. We also have with us the University Hall President, His Excellency Bacha, if I'm right. Yes, let's welcome him. And then also, not long ago, we saw the Simpa Hall President. I'm sure he just stepped out and he will be back inside. Then again, we have the President for Art Society, His Excellency Emmanuel Che Dankwa. If you are here, give us a wave. Let's welcome you. His Excellency Emmanuel Che Dankwa. We also have the Faculty of Social Sciences Education President, His Excellency Emmanuel Boateng. You are very much welcome, sir. We have the President for Faculty of Science, my very own brother, His Excellency Osei Ajiman Prempe. Prempe, where are you? You are very much welcome. Shall we be upstanding as we welcome into the auditorium the former Education Minister and the Member of Parliament for the good people of the Bosomtwe constituency, Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. Let's welcome him with a resounding clap. Shall we please resume our seats? May we please be seated? Thank you very much, Trojans. Trojans! Trojans! Yes, once a Trojan, always a Trojan. I am still the Trojan I was some years ago. Thank you very much, Trojans. Now may I proceed with the introduction of dignitaries. We have the Simpa Hall President as well as the Unified Hall President for the University of Education, Winneba. His Excellency Noble Akli, kindly give us a wave. Let's welcome you. We also have the former SRC Treasurer, Annette Boateng, Miss. Is Annette here? Okay, you are very much welcome, Annette. We also have the former SRC Financial Secretary, Jeffrey Boache Yedo, Mr. Okay, you are very much welcome, sir. We have the local Nugs Chief of Staff, Isaac Tay. You are very much, Isaac. You are welcome, Isaac. We also have the Sports and Games Secretary for the SRC, Kingsley Wisdom Bafo. You are very much welcome. We appreciate your presence. We have the Treasurer for SRC Sports and Games, Mr. Ali Abubakar. You are very much welcome. We have the local Nugs Treasurer, Emanuela Sewa Amwa. Noela, are you here? She's at the back. You are very much welcome. We also have the Women's Commissioner for local Nugs, Juliet Clark Amwakwando. Is she with us? Okay, you are welcome. We have the local Nugs Secretary, Miss Emanuela Ado. Okay, you are very much welcome. We also have the SRC Financial Secretary, Mr. Nyameche Augustine. You are very much welcome. And now to the SRC Treasurer, Miss Comfort Abena Akwe. And then also we have the General Secretary for the Student Representative Council. I call her the General, Miss Asantewa Akoto Regina. We also have the Vice President for the Student Representative Council, the man who has the swag. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you His Excellency Raphael Aka Donko. And to the leader of the 31st SRC. Oh, I thought you would make some noise before I introduce the gentleman. By his kind courtesy, now at the Student Center, we have a very giant LED screen, which has become a possible means for communication on campus. His Excellency Anobil Ebenezer, the SRC President for the 31st SRC. And then to the man whose invitation has brought us together this morning, he has been the champion of this program and has gone the length and breadth of this university to make sure this happens today. The challenges were enormous, yet he has been able to walk through the storms and make sure this program happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you His Excellency Bismarck Owusu Echampong. Thank you very much, sir. You are welcome. Beyond these personalities, we have a lot more other dignitaries who are here with us. We have with us the National Nugs General Secretary, the General Secretary for the National Union of Ghana Students, and we are talking about the national level, Mr. Benedict Amelo. I'm sorry if I'm not getting the name right, but Ameloku, if I'm right. Let's welcome him into the auditorium. And then we also have the person who some few years ago was leading the National Union of Ghana Students as the chief administrator of the institution that has served us over the years. He was, in fact, nurtured in this university. He read English language and did so well. He left here with distinction. Ladies and gentlemen, during his time, Nugs had a solid brand on campus, and I don't want to go into that, but ladies and gentlemen, this man, when he was a local Nugs president, for the University of Education Winneba. It was great. And when he had the opportunity to serve the Ghanaian student, he did so with some level of decorum. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the former Secretary for Nugs, Mr. Ishmael Toisong. Let's welcome him. This is the very institution that nurtured him. We also have with us the man who is leading the battle as far as student leadership in Ghana is concerned, the president for the overwhelming number of students in this country and abroad. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the president for Nugs, His Excellency Lawyer Rashid Ibrahim. You're welcome, sir. And we go far into the Bunu East region where I am coming from. We have the regional youth organizer for the Bunu East on the ticket of the NDC. He is also the corporate communications director for Student Loan Trust Fund. And he is one of the key speakers we are going to have this morning as far as this occasion is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Honorable Obeng Ajinim Boatin. Shall we welcome him with a clap? And then also, not long ago, we welcomed into this auditorium a great man as far as the development of our country is concerned. We will better do the introduction later on, but for the benefit of the preliminary introductions, may I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, the former Minister for Education and the former presidential candidate aspirant on the ticket of the NPP. He's also the Member of Parliament for the good people of the Bosumtwi constituency. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Honorable Yao Osei Educhum. Let's welcome him. Thank you very much. And of course, myself. My name is Evans Wahin. Thank you. Now we shall proceed to know who the chairman for this very important occasion is. And to do us the honor of introducing to us the chairperson or the chairman for this very important occasion, may I invite Miss Michaelina Ali, and what's the name? Ando, if I'm right. I'm sorry if I didn't get the name right, but I can see Michaelina Ando. Let's welcome her. Let's put our hands together until she makes her way here to introduce to us the chairman for this very important gathering. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Good afternoon to us all once again. Distinguished guests, student executives, respected leaders, colleagues present, it is a privilege to stand in front of you all today to introduce to you the chairman of this August program. Before I proceed, I want to say this. Leadership is not merely about the positions or titles. It is about growth, responsibility, service, and preparing ourselves to create meaningful impact wherever we find ourselves. That is why this program is not just a program, but an opportunity to learn, to reflect, to network, to connect, and to become a better version of ourselves. I want to sincerely say this: you are at the right place. One idea, one lesson, one connection, one statement from a speaker can transform your perspective and shape your future journey as a student leader. As students and emerging leaders, we must also learn to intentionally place ourselves at places that would challenge our thinking and build our confidence ahead of responsibilities. Today at this very program, I encourage you all to engage, take all notes and words from our speakers seriously, learn something, because the future starts from here and it is nowhere. At this very moment, permit me to introduce the chairman of this August program. Profile of the chairman. He is a native of Mangdo in Kwanta. He has his primary and middle school education at his hometown and secondary education, O-level and A-level at King University Secondary. The chairman is a distinguished Ghanaian academic and senior lecturer in the Department of Social Studies Education at the University of Education, Winneba. He has over 21 years of professional experience in education, having taught of the basic, secondary, and tertiary levels. His expertise spans teaching, research, educational leadership, and higher education management. His educational background: he has a BEd in Social Studies Education at the University of Cape Coast, that's 2003. He had his MPhil in Development Studies from the University for Development Studies, that's 2012. He had his PhD in Social Studies Education from the University of Education, Winneba, 2017. His academic and professional career: he worked with the Ghana Education Service as a classroom teacher from 1998 to 2000 and 2004 to 2017, before joining UW as a lecturer in 2018. He currently serves as a senior lecturer in the Department of Social Studies Education. He has also held important administrative positions, including exams officer, that's 2022 to 2023. Graduate coordinator, that's 2021 to 2022. His teaching areas: at University of Education, he teaches courses such as citizenship and human rights, parenthood and child development, education and development, population and development, social studies and nation building, which is a postgraduate course. Research interest: his research interest focuses on marriage and family studies, adolescence and child development, gender and development, prison conditions and human rights, educational development, social studies pedagogy. His research contributions: Dr. Che has published extensively in reputable international journals on topics such as adolescent development, gender relations, prison conditions, family welfare, and educational development. His recent publications have appeared in journals published by Springer Taylor and Francis and Sage. His professional reputation: he is widely respected for his mentorship of undergraduate and postgraduate students. Numerous theses and dissertations from University of Education acknowledge his supervision, guidance, and scholarly contributions. He is a seasoned educator, researcher, and mentor whose work has significantly contributed to social studies education in Ghana. Through his teaching, research, and academic leadership, he continues to influence educational development, social research, and student scholarship at the University of Education. Today, it is my honor to introduce to you the chairman of this noble conference, Nugs Leadership Conference UEW 1.0, the chairman from the Social Studies Department, Dr. Simon Che. Please, with a clapping of hands, let's introduce him. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for doing us the honor. God bless you, Trojans. Once again, let's put our hands together for the very beautiful lady who was introduced to us, the chairman for today's program. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we shall proceed to take the opening address of the chairman. Shall we welcome to the podium Dr. Simon Che.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished invited guests, Speaker, Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, former Minister for Education and Member of Parliament for Bosumtwi, my own constituency. Respected organizers of the seminar, faculty members, students, leaders, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am deeply honored to chair this important students' leadership seminar. The choice of theme is timely because students' leadership is not merely about holding office. It is about service, discipline, vision, responsibility, and ability to influence others positively. Today's students are tomorrow's teachers, public servants, entrepreneurs, researchers, policymakers, and national leaders. Therefore, any platform that prepares students to lead with integrity and competence must be taken seriously. We are privileged to have Honorable Dr. Osei Educhum, Honorable Member for Bosumtwi, and we know he was a former Minister of Education who oversees the free SHS and many other TVETs intervention. He is here with us, and he will share with us his experience as a leader. We, as a chairperson, I encourage all participants, especially students leaders, to listen carefully to him because he has a lot to offer and takes notes. Ask thoughtful questions and then ask thoughtful questions and reflect on how the lessons from today can improve leadership in our institution and Ghana as a whole. On this note, I warmly welcome you all and declare our attention fully directed to the purpose of this seminar. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Simon Che. He is a father to me. On countless occasions, I've been to his residence, and he has been a great person who motivates me a lot of time. And the level at which he believes in me, I don't think I believe in myself that much. Thank you very much, Doc, for everything you have been doing for students who have had the opportunity to meet you. We so much appreciate that. As part of the introduction, there are a couple of other dignitaries I would have to take this opportunity to let you know that presently they are here with us. We have the SRC Public Relations Officer, Mr. Evans Tano. Kindly give us a wave. Let's welcome you. We have the Programs and Projects Chairperson, Eugene Bechi Fosu. Let's welcome him. We also have the Council Attorney, Mr. Albert Nyabil. Okay, you're welcome. And then we also have the Amalgamated Chair, Paul Adu Boahen. Okay, you are very much welcome, dignitaries. We also have the man in charge, or the one who serves as the Secretary for Skills, Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Nugs, Mr. Titus Owusu Dakon. Let's welcome him. You are very much welcome, sir. Beyond these dignitaries, we also have the former Projects and Programs Director for National Union of Ghana Students, Miss Bridget Bansa. Let's welcome her. You are very much welcome. We also have the former Electoral Commissioner for National Union of Ghana Students, Mr. John Kwame Owusu Opoku. Let's welcome him. He's at the back. And then we are also privileged to have the former Nugs president with us. He's popularly known as KOD. You remember that name, right? Let's welcome His Excellency Treme Opon Daniel. You are very much welcome, sir. And presently, they are working hand in hand with the former education minister. We appreciate your presence here today. We are grateful. Very soon, we shall take the keynote address and proceed to other important reasons why we are here gathered. And so before we do that, Trojans, are you ready? Shall we welcome the Trojans to warm up the place before we invite the next speaker? Trojans! Thank you very much, Trojans. Thank you very much, Trojans. Thank you very much, Trojans. We appreciate so much, Trojans. Time is not on our side, please. Thank you very much, Trojans. We appreciate so much. His Excellency Honorable, we are grateful to you and the guys. Thank you, Trojans. Trojans! In fact, if you come to the University of Education and you want a hall, it is University Hall. No two ways about that. No two ways about that. It is the University Hall. Whether you agree with me or not, I have the microphone on. Thank you. Let's put our hands together for ourselves and for Trojans. Gavians are duly represented here. At this point, we shall proceed to take the keynote address. But before we do that, may I inform you that we are streaming live on Radio Windy Bay. And so you can take your phone, go onto Facebook, and follow Radio Windy Bay. You can share as well as copy the link and post it on your status for others who are not here presently and physically to follow the event. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to take this very important address and to introduce the speaker for this very important gathering. May I have the singular honor to invite onto the podium the former president for National Union of Ghana Students, His Excellency Chairman Opon Daniel.
Very good morning to us all. I will not stand in front of a podium having students and not say Aluta continua, Victoria, etc. Aluta continua. Aluta continua. I deem it a great honor to find myself here to introduce my boss. I'm sure you all came with your notepads because this man I'm about to introduce is a walking encyclopedia of leadership in our country. On your program outline, you wanted me to touch on mentorship, but the best person who can discuss mentorship to your understanding is my boss, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. Today, you are going to pick a lot of motivations regardless of where you are coming from. Dr. Yao Osei Educhum is going to be an example to yourself sitting here. Today, we are going to have new people dreaming to become great people, changing our country into the very phase we want to find ourselves in. This particular person I'm talking about who will be touching on mentorship is the one who is mentoring me in becoming that great leader I want to become tomorrow. And you need that particular mentor as well to metamorphose your life to become that great individual you want to see. This particular individual I'm about to introduce, life resonates with most of you in here. He's a son of two uneducated cocoa farmers. And to surprise you, this son became the Minister for Education. He did his first degree at KNUST in Lands Economy, proceeded to the United States of America to read his master's in Educational Management at University of Laverne, proceeded on to read his PhD in Education in Policy Administration at University of Southern California. In our history, he's one of the few Ghanaians to move to the United States of America to establish 1, 2, 3 schools in the United States of America. Give me a round of applause. And the reason why I say you're going to pick a lot of motivation is this individual whose parents never had a few of education went to the United States and established 3 working schools, the new design charter schools in the United States of America, California. And today is a great motivation for you. I'm saying pick your notepads and listen a lot. He's going to teach you the strategic procedures in becoming great, in realizing that great vision of yours. He's the main brain behind STEM education in Ghana. He believes STEM education is the panacea to national transformation. He's the main brain behind a lot of infrastructural projects in our various senior high schools. He will touch on all those kind of infrastructural projects when you see him here. Please kindly pick your notepads. I want you to pick those notes. I will not touch much more, but I want you to just keep quiet, just listen. He's made us who we are, and today we stand in front of masses, and then we're able to shout, yay, and we're able to see our clear future because we have a great mentor, one of the finest leaders in this particular country. And today, by the time he's leaving here, try to get in touch with him and ask him, say, can you mentor me? Let's welcome Dr. Yao Osei Educhum.
Thank you. I think it's afternoon now. Good afternoon. Hope you are doing well. Yeah, Senior Lecturer Che and other faculty members here, student leaders, Excellency, Nugs President and SRC President. I'm honored to be here today to have opportunity to share a few words with you. Once upon a time, I was also a student leader. At KNUST, I was the Assistant Secretary of the Student Representative Council. And those were interesting days. Those were the days that were fighting Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings to return the country to democratic rule. Remember, we went on demonstrating to challenge him. And there was a day that the newspaper carried a banner headline, hand over to whom? We had said he should hand over. He said, hand over to whom? Those were interesting days. You were not born. Can you imagine having to go to bed at 7 p.m. and you cannot go out. It was a curfew time. Can you imagine waking up one day to hear that 3 former presidents, head of states of Ghana, have been shot dead? Those were turbulent times in the history of this nation. Before independence, that generation fought so hard. They worked so hard for Ghana to become independent. There was great hope for our people. At the old polo grounds, when people congregated for Kwame Nkrumah to declare Ghana independent, there was hope in the air. We thought at that time that we were forever free. And yes, politically we were free. Events after that unfolded and the nation was not seeing its way clear. Coup d'etat upon coup d'etat. Wake up and around 4 a.m. you hear classical music on radio, and at that time there was only one radio station, GBC. You hear the classical music and then to be followed by an announcement. Fellow countrymen, there's a coup d'etat. The leader will mention his name and then he will begin to rule the country. That was what we grew up in. I was born in 1964. 1966, there was a coup d'etat. 2 years after. Then we moved on. Thought things were great. And then you have 1970, there was a 72, a Champon, coup d'etat. Around 76, then there was a palace coup, a Kufo, takes over. Then Rawlings comes. Then we come into the Fourth Republic. We've gone through some turbulent times as a nation. Some great institutions have subsequently been built. So there were those who fought for the independence of Ghana. There were those who thereafter began building institutions. What is our responsibility, this generation, those of us alive today? What are we supposed to do for Ghana? When you look at the challenges, the myriad of challenges facing the country, the youth unemployment, lack of opportunity. Once upon a time when you were at the university, you knew when you graduate you were going to get a job. Not getting a job was not something you even think about. No, it was always about, I did land economy at Kenya University before I moved into education when I went to the United States. When I was doing land economy, I knew after that I was going to either work for the Land Valuation Board or the Lands Commission. And it was almost like guaranteed. There was a 99% chance that I was going to get one of those positions. It was as simple as that. You graduate from the university, after national service, there was opportunity for you. Now I have people who walk into my office when I was the Minister for Education and tell me, I've been sitting at home for 7 years and there's no hope. So I'll tell you this. We are in a different phase of our national development, or national evolution, if you want to call it that way. The first generation of people who fought for independence did their part. The second generation, those who built institutions, up to this point, they've done their part. But the major part that's left for us to accomplish is transformation of our nation, transformation of our economy, creating opportunities for everyone to flourish. So there are times when people lose hope and they will tell you, no, it will never happen. But I'll tell you this, at the time when people were fighting for independence, there were those who said it will never happen. And yet, we became independent. There was a time when nobody thought that there would be political stability in Ghana. Now, there's political stability. But I tell you this, we all have to yearn for the day when there will be transformation and that graduates can line up and secure jobs. We have to yearn for a day where there will be innovation and transformation and that great ideas will be nurtured by government, supported by private sector, so that we can become like Singapore and we can become like South Korea. We can become like Vietnam. These nations are emerging and they are doing so well. They've done well for themselves. You will not believe that in 1963 when Lee Kuan Yew came to Ghana, he couldn't believe that Ghana was transforming the way it was transforming. The Asian tigers that have changed their fortunes look at Ghana at that time with amazement and shock because Ghana was moving. Today, our stories are different. We are not where we should be. But the future of the nation is in your hands. I know there are some who say, no, it's in the hands of the politicians. You make the politicians. The youth. You make the politicians. If you allow us to lie to you and tell you what we cannot do and you believe us and you vote for us, you have given us power. The political establishment must take a cue and do what is needed so that we can see a new nation, a transformed nation. So when I hear people say the nation is transforming, I say to myself, don't lie to the youth. Our nation is not transforming. There's a lot of work to be done to lay the foundation for the transformation. A lot needs to be done, and I have to tell you the truth. The easiest thing to do is to come here and tell you, oh, everything is fine. No. We have to do what people deem impossible. When I became the member of parliament of Bconference constituency, I wanted to do what no MP has ever done in this country. I decided that I will educate 100 engineers, fully paid for by me, because I could afford it from my work in the US. This was when the first batch of students were being sent to UMass. There were 31 of them. 4 years later, they graduated. The next year, I sent out 62 engineers. They've graduated. This year, when the next batch graduates, I will have over 100 engineers fully paid for by me. And of course, we continue to support others who are not engineers. But I wanted to make a statement. The statement was that we can do the impossible. I have about 20 medical doctors that have fully sponsored from Bconference. And I want to tell you one thing. If we don't aspire to do what people deem impossible, you cannot transform our nation. We have to begin by looking at John Carter's leadership advice or transformation strategy. The first thing you do is to create a sense of urgency. As a nation, we have to create a sense of urgency. You see, when I first came from the US to Ghana, I was there for many years and then I came back. And nighttime when I'm going to sleep, I want to charge my phone. I'll plug the phone into the socket, right? And I'll forget to switch it on. Because in the US, you didn't have to switch it on. You connect it and it's charging. And then there are a few sockets that operate that way in Ghana now. But I wake up in the morning and the phone is not charged. And I was wondering why the phone was not charged. I didn't know. I didn't realize that I had not switched on. I had not switched it on. So it's plugged in, but not connected. So that's the metaphor I see with us. We are connected, right? We plugged it in, but we have not switched it on. So we are not charging. That is why as a minister for education, I was so happy when I got the opportunity to lead the education sector. My goal was simple. I have to change education the way we know it. I had experience in the United States to do just that. I saw the gaps in the education sector, and I said one by one, we'll have to change it. Not easy, but I began. Within a period of 4 years, Mo Ibrahim Foundation ran Ghana's education system as number 2 in Africa, next only to Tunisia. What I want to tell you is this. Transformation begins with all of us. And that's why I'm saying that you have a bigger role to play in this. You have to have that transformation mindset. A mindset that tells you that everything is possible. That's the mindset that Americans have. They believe that everything is possible. So they talk about the American dream. The American dream. But when sometimes we come here, we tell ourselves in Ghana that nothing is possible. So I call it the Ghanaian nightmare. We think everything will be bad. So if you want to change our nation, if you want to see our nation change, since this is a leadership conference, I want you to look at these things, the models developed by, it's called the Cortex 8-step change model. You have to create a sense of urgency. You have to say to yourself that what is going on needs to end. We have to enter a new chapter. The sense of urgency. And then you have to build a guiding coalition, individuals who want to see that transformation happen. Then from there you form a strategic vision. You have to look at it and say, this is what I want to see. When I close my eyes, I want to see a transformed education system. That is the vision that I see. And then you have to communicate the vision. You have to let Ghanaians know that this is where we are going. But I decided not to talk too much because I know Ghanaians don't trust politicians. So if you go out and say, I want to do STEM schools, the schools will be so beautiful, it will be better than private schools, they will say, the politicians are lying to us. So I did not talk much about the vision in terms of transformation of our education system, but I had to empower people to act. Working with the Ghana Education Service and a number of people, we empowered them to act. Then we generated short-term wins. So for example, I walk into a school called St. Barnabas at Osu, the short-term win. I saw the school in such a bad shape, and I had to do something to it. Within 6 months, the school had been transformed. That is a short-term win, which make people know that change is possible. But you have to sustain the acceleration and institute change permanently. We were able to sustain some acceleration, but instituting change permanently is not possible under our current political dispensation. Wherever I did may be continued or may not be continued, and the new political leadership don't have to continue it. So that is where our nation is not able to follow the Cortex model of change. Now, this is when I visited St. Barnabas Junior High School at Osu. Obviously, it's an Anglican school. I took a picture with them. Within a period of you see, this was it, the students. Now I have Osu children walking to school with their tie on. This is a public school. The so-called Saito has to be transformed. And it's not just about changing schools like this. We also decided, look at this, with a flag of Ghana. I also decided that we have to build new public schools. You see, the existing public school regime where you have rectangular shaped buildings painted brown and yellow cannot be. And we have to change it. So, let's move on to see Accra STEM Academy. A school in Accra, East Legon, on the same stretch of road with all the top private schools, Al Ryan, Galaxy, all those schools are there, and we are there some as a public school run by the government of Ghana. I think the picture will come up soon. You're going to see a school building that is more beautiful than most public schools in the US, but it's here in Ghana. My vision was very simple. We have to change the public education system. I believe that parents should have a choice. Yeah, this is a public school. This is Accra STEM Academy. It's a public school. We opened it before we left government. And if you go to the classrooms, it's just so different. They have a dining hall. Yeah, this is the classroom of Accra STEM Academy. This is a public school. This is how change looks like. These are smart boards. Look at them. You see, the white people also go in there because they know it's good. This is coding and robotics being taught in our public schools. That is how you change a country. You want to be like Singapore, but you are not educating your children the way Singaporeans are educating their children. You never become like Singapore. You have to change. If you look at more of the building across STEM Academy and look at the things that are happening there, it tells you one thing, that change is possible. We have to change the foundation of education in this country to make it more critical thinking. So we turn our attention to high schools and we introduce new courses in high school. Now we do robotics, not just in the STEM school. There are schools that we build from scratch and they are STEM schools. But even in our existing schools, we have to introduce new set of courses for high school students. This is one STEM school called Bconference Girls. They recently went to America and won a major competition there. Bconference Girls was built 5 years ago. And today their performance is just like Wesley Girls. What did I do? How did I do it? Apart from the buildings and the equipment that is there, we affiliated Bconference Girls with Wesley Girls Cape Coast. We got a former headmistress from Wesley Girls, Mrs. Jokoto, to become the mentor of Wesley Girls and the mentor of other schools. And she was paid out of the MasterCard Foundation money that they donated to us. So what have we done? We've been able to build schools from scratch and make them Category A schools. I just want to share these pieces of information with you to let you know that don't let anybody tell you that we can't change Ghana. It can be changed. We can transform this nation by needs a new set of leadership. A can-do leader who says to himself, change is possible. And once we can get to that point, this nation will be transformed. Our education system should be accessible, allow everybody to get in, but should also not forget that the quality must be great, and we have to also ensure that the education is relevant to the needs of our nation. If it's the study of education, whether it's social studies, whether it's science education, the new way of teaching and learning should be different. To enable you enter the classroom fully equipped to bring about transformation. An education system that empowers the children to talk and discuss. An education system that also ensures that we have gifted and talented education. This, by the way, is a junior high school. These are the new senior high school that we began building. This is Otio Sribo Junior High School at Jabin in the Ashanti region. This is a junior high school. It has biology, chemistry, and physics labs. You see the science lab there is a junior high school science lab. We had a number of them across the country that were building. My goal was very simple. In fact, during the last few weeks of our government, I went to Parliament to get a law passed to make junior high schools classified as secondary schools. Because you see, junior high schools in Ghana now are part of basic schools, so we don't have to give them anything. So if the law was passed, junior high schools in Ghana will have become part of secondary. What it meant was this. There are two pathways for executing that. If we're building a new senior high school, we'll make sure we attach a junior high school. That is the Nigerian model. Junior high schools and high schools are on the same campus. They use the same library. They use the same science lab, taught by the same teacher. Therefore, Nigeria has quality 6-year secondary education. We have 3-year secondary education. Very few countries in the world have 3 years of secondary education. Ghana is one of them. It's unfortunate. So what we had to do was to look at two scenarios. The first was that in any new senior high school, we'll add a junior high school, and the children who come from that area will have their junior high school on the high school campus. But in places where we could not do that, we'll have to build a freestanding junior high school that has the same facilities as the high schools. So there were two pathways for us to get to upgrading junior high schools to give us 6-year quality secondary education. Of course, we did quite a few of them. This is the one at Sunyani. I think the rich area of Sunyani, they have that. This one there. The bottom line is this. We have to change our education system to enable us change our nation. In our schools, students should be taught to analyze problems, think critically, create new ideas, design solutions, apply knowledge to real-world challenges, and innovate and start businesses. I remember speaking at the United Nations and saying that we cannot memorize our way out of poverty, but we can innovate and critically think and innovate ourselves out of poverty or become prosperous. So when I came back to Ghana, Minister for Education, I was saying to myself, how do we ensure that students are critically thinking in our schools? So I had a meeting with WAEC, and at that time they were going to do a BEC exam, and we had begun the junior high school reforms. So I asked them to show me a sample exams and the type of questions that the students are going to have to respond to. You are education students, so I hope you know the Webb's depth of knowledge. DOK. DOK. Okay. Or the new Bloom's taxonomy. Either one of them, you are talking about levels of learning all the way to critical thinking. And when WAEC showed me 40 questions that were coming on the exams, 20 of them was at the recall remembering level. 20. The other 10 was at the understanding. Because you know, I can say something, you hear me, you recall that I said DOK. But it doesn't mean you understand DOK. So when I say remembering, you remember DOKs. But do you understand DOKs? That's the next layer. And then can you apply DOKs? And then can you create something with DOKs or depth of knowledge? The level 1 is when you are just recalling facts. Level 2 is when you understand. And then 3 you can apply, analyze, and then you get to the level where it is about creating. So on the one particular exams that was going to be administered, 20 questions at the lowest level possible. 10 level 2, another 10 level 3. Level 4 was not assessed at all. How can you create a nation of critical thinkers when your exams is not asking students to think critically? So I remember telling WAEC leadership that this is a clear case of where the tail is wagging the dog. We have Ghana. We want our students to be critical thinkers, but your exams have nothing to do with critical thinking. How do we create critical thinkers? I told them to go back and change the questions. They did. And that year, the students were saying the exams was too difficult, which I took credit for. Yeah, because you see, if you don't, you know, you are in education, and there's something called CIA, Curriculum instruction, and assessment. Invariably, we think assessment is the last thing, right? But assessment comes first. You need to know what you are going to be examined on for you to even teach it as a teacher and for you to instruct the curriculum and the instruct. So if the exams is going to be on recall, it's memorization. You just memorize. You just memorize. And in Ghana, we call it chew, pour, pass, and what? Forget. It's called rote memorization. So when you do rote memorization, it does not inure to the benefit of the nation in terms of critical thinking and creativity, in terms of innovation, because you cannot just memorize agric facts and then you have a better farm. No, you can't. You have to apply. You have to know. So what I had to do was look at a high school reform that focused on the exams. And I'm happy that this year, 33 schools in Ghana took an exam, or they're about to finish, are doing an exam that is with majority of the questions at the critical thinking level, at the West DOK 4. 33 schools. It's a pilot. They're doing an exam that you can't memorize at the high school level. This is WASI, but it's a new WASI, and you cannot memorize. Past questions, forget about it. You're going to think on your feet. And that is why, as minister, I also championed elimination of examination leakages. I remember at the BEC level, the first thing I did when I met with WAEC was to give different questions to different regions. Then we risk being told that the question in Ashanti is very easy because you are from there. So the next level was for WAEC to have different questions for every examination center. So question 1 in your examination center may be question 20 in somebody's examination center. When that happened, leakages stopped because you don't know what question is going to come at your examination center. So for the last few years, you've never heard of BEC leakages. Then we began with a pilot at the senior high schools, where different schools, at least at the multiple choice level, were having different questions arranged. So Prempeh College, question 1, maybe Opokwari, question 20. Now, the next phase I wanted to do that I could not do, that I wish this government would do, is when you serialize at a point where students have different questions in the examination room. So if you're sitting next to Kojo and you want to cheat, Kojo's question 1 is your question 20, so get his answers. Get his answers. And then on the essay questions, there will be thousands of questions distributed. And your questions are different. And the exams will be graded with AI. I want to ensure that we have exam malpractice-free education system. That is when you create a generation of young people who stand on their feet and think on their feet because they did not rely on any assistance whatsoever. But you cannot do all that and not look at the universities, professors and their pamphlets and all the things that go away. You have to support them. I was always advocating that. I didn't get the clearance to do it, but I was going to get the professors to have more teaching assistants so that they can support them. In many countries around the world, level 100 and level 200, most of them are taught by teaching assistants. Not those doing their national service, but those who are doing their PhD and they work with a professor for a certain number of years and support them. So that is something that I hope happens. If it doesn't happen now, God knows 2029 it will happen. I'm just telling you that there has to be a new dawn. We really, as a nation, this is not political. We all have to rally together and say we need a new Ghana. And that new Ghana, in the field of education, how to look at the models that have been implemented in other places around the world, critical thing. I tell people that, yes, I'm for STEM. inside out. But I'm also for philosophy. Critical thinking is the key. If you know how to think, you can fit into any job. You can fit into any job. Let me tell you this. Growing up, I never thought I'd be standing in front of you as a former education minister. No. When I was doing land economy, my whole thing was work at the Lands Commission. Things can change. Wherever you've imagined yourself becoming right here, sitting in this seat, may not be where you will be 10 years from now. You have to have an open mind. Because opportunity may knock at your door, but if you don't have an open mind, you will close the door in your own face because you think, oh, no, that's not what I want. That's not what I'm thinking. If I could get to the university, see, my parents were cocoa farmers in the western region. There's a town called Antubam. You walk 10 miles from Mansour Memphis. Is anybody from Mansour Memphis? Mansour Memphis. Oh, they are not here. Oh, you're from there? Wasa? Okay. So, Mansour Memphis, you walk 10 miles to get to my father's village. There was no free senior high school at the time. I had passed the common entrance, the BEC. I needed 40 cedis to go and secure my spot. You had to pay a deposit for the school to reserve your spot for you. And it was not going to be. It wasn't cocoa season. No money. My younger brother sold a pig that he had so that I can go to pay my 40 cedis. And I remember recently, before we left office, going to Opokuare with Nana Danko Kufuado. And Nana Danko Kufuado asked me, oh, did you go to school here? And I said, Nana, no way. How could I have gone to Opokuare? How could I have bought a trunk and chop box and the shoes and the white clothes for Sunday dining hall? No way. I went to Jache Pramso Senior High School. Jache Pramso. And when I got in, it was like heaven to me because now I am in senior high school or secondary school. It was very interesting. But I got in, worked hard, moved on, and I became, by the way, the SP. So I was learning the ropes of student leadership. And I remember the headmaster one day called me and said, SP, whenever there's good news, you will be the one to communicate it to the students. I want the students to like you. And I said, thank you, headmaster. So if we're going to get a bus or something, he would tell me to go, he would tell me to go and tell the students. And I did that, and the students loved me. Then one day, they had to, those days they can tell you in the middle of the term that they've changed school fees. Go home and collect the difference. So headmaster sent us home to go and get a top-up of the school fees. Most of the students went home and got the money, but when we came back, they didn't want to pay. So almost like a demonstration. So headmaster called me into his home and said, hey, we have a problem, SP. You know, how do we solve this problem? At that time, we were in Form 5, about to write our exams, O-level. And during those days, if you are in high school and you're going to write exams, nobody allows you to stay at school. No, you have to go home and collect additional fees to pay. Those who can afford it are the ones who come and stay there during the second term to the third term to write the exams. It wasn't free. So an idea came to me and I told the headmaster, if I get the students to pay, are you going to allow the Form 5 students to stay here without paying anything? And he said, that's a deal. He shook my hand. So the guy who said he only tell me good news to go and share with the students is now giving me bad news to go and share with the students. So I walked out of his office, went straight to the builder's office. I paid my fees. By the time I was about to come out, the headmaster was just next to me, and then he took my receipt, and he showed it to the students and said, the student prefect, the SP has paid, so go and pay. One by one, everybody went and paid. Leadership. Sometimes you're under fire, but when it's for a right cause, you have to act. So that was a very important leadership experience. From there, I went to Kumasi High School for sixth form, and Kumasi High School was like heaven to me. Jase Pramso, no running water. We used to go to the river and fetch water. I go to Kumasi High School, there's pipe. I said, oh my God, I'm going to study. So I'll sit in the lab, I can drink water. Hey, life was good. So I studied so hard, and from there I went to Kenya University, did land economy. My point is this: leadership. The things you learn from leadership, those of you who are in leadership, don't despair. Don't say you are spending too much time. Balance your work though. But leadership, wherever you are studying from there, is what is going to take you to the next level. So when I went to the United States of America, and the government was saying that they want individuals to step forward, they'll give you money, write a grant proposal, they'll give you money, and with that money you can build schools for them. I stepped up. I didn't look at myself as a Ghanaian, a black man, and therefore I can't do what a white man was doing. I always believed that wherever the white man could do, I could do it. So I submitted my proposal, and they approved it. Allowed me to build schools in the United States of America. These are public-private. Robotics there. 2004, 2006, we were doing robotics. And these are one of my schools. I have 3 schools there now, and they're all doing very well. I remember hiring a few Ghanaian teachers.
At New Design's Adams campus, every student is encouraged and given the tools they need to reach their full potential. The cross-curricular lessons, hands-on learning, and support seminars, students get to explore various ways of learning to develop their critical thinking skills. At the Adams campus, teachers support all middle school students to find their voice and their passion, so they can be self-made success heading into high school and future careers. And here, education goes beyond the school day. With a robust after-school program, students can explore theater, art, music, fitness, and scouts, building lifelong friendships inside and outside.
Going to another country, use the leadership experiences to be able to do what people thought was impossible, even in the United States of America. And then one day I got a message from the New Patriotic Party of Los Angeles, and I was a member, saying that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was visiting us. He was not a president at the time. He came, he saw the schools. He couldn't believe that a Ghanaian was doing that kind of work in America, and he asked me a very simple question: would you consider coming back to Ghana to help me change the education system? At first, in my head, I laughed. Why did I laugh? I said to myself, this man don't know me. Your father was president. My father never went to school. You want me to come back to Ghana? Leave all these schools here and come back to Ghana. Then I went to meet a mentor of mine. You know, we're talking about mentoring. I met a mentor of mine, and I posed a question to him. He was an American politician, and I asked him, do I go to Ghana or do I stay here? We're at lunch. He looked at me and said, yeah, I'll tell you one thing. You've done so well here. Your schools have done well. We are proud of the work you've done. But America can do without you. Maybe your country cannot do without you. So go. Go and support your country. I felt like God was speaking to me. I felt like that's what I needed to do. So people could not believe that I'll leave the schools with 200 workers to come back to Ghana. So when I came back to Ghana, I said to myself, if I've left all these things and I'm here, I cannot fail. I should do something for this country to remember me. So when I got the opportunity from deputy minister to minister, I said to myself, I'm going to do something that when the history of Ghana is being written, nobody can take my name away from it, and that was STEM education. I wanted to do literally what people deem as impossible. I just want you to know that there are some things you need to know, and this is my homework for you. There's something called the hero's journey. The hero's journey. Research it. You see, this was Sedichum Senior High School. This is a private school that I owned, and I gave it to the government. So if you go to Jache, it's there. It's called Sedichum. Yeah, it's called Sedichum Senior High School. I gave it to the government. 10 acres with buildings. Didn't ask for anything for it because I felt like that would be a good contribution. And today when I see the school bus of Sedichum, I said, wow, my name is on the bus. Hero's journey. Hero's journey. Please research it. I don't have time to go over it. You lead an ordinary life. Then an idea pops out in your head that I want to do this. And then you entertain it for a minute, and then later on, something tells you, no, you can't do it. There's no way you can do this. And then you accept that you can. And one day you meet a mentor, somebody who will guide you. And by the time you know what you thought you could not do, you've done it. Joseph Campbell, a research professor in literature, is the one who came up with that idea of the hero's journey. Another thing you need to also write down is called 10,000 hour rule. When you hear that people have done so well in life, they've accomplished some great things, you think they are a genius, and you don't think you can ever do something like that. But 10,000 hour rule simply says, if you put in a lot of effort, a lot of time into something, and it reaches 10,000, you become an expert in it. And they trace the life of so many people who have done so many great things and realize that they put in so much time. And when you exceed the 10,000, then it comes to you naturally. And you're able to do it. And people wonder how you're able to do it. But you have done the 10,000 hours. See, I'm a teacher and a politician. In both professions, you have to speak, right? You have to learn to talk. So sometimes I remind myself when I'm taking too much time, hey, you're a teacher, you're a politician, don't talk too much. So I'll be ending soon, but I just want you to know that Ghana's future is in our hands. Both the old and the young must come together through such things as this conversation that we are having, through intergenerational dialogue. See, creativity and innovation belongs to you. The older folks also have wisdom and ideas. Together we can bridge the gap between the generations and set ourselves on a course for the transformation of Ghana. Ghana needs to be transformed. But you see, you can't talk about we want to transform the economy, and we are transforming the economy, and your economic growth rate is 4.8, 5.2. No. For us to become a developed nation from now, 20 years from now, your economic growth rate should average 10%, about 10% annually. Otherwise, you are just lying to yourself that you are changing your country. It doesn't happen. And the growth rate should be more profound in the productive sectors, not just the consumption areas. So if you ask me, 70% of the effort we need to put into transformation of Ghana centers on education. Then you have to look at manufacturing. Manufacturing should not be less than 25% of your GDP. And that is why it's very tricky when you want a strong currency. When you have a strong currency, exports diminish. Because for every dollar that you get from abroad, you get fewer local currency, and therefore you may not even be able to pay your workers. So look at an example of a company that was exporting to, let's say, US. Some months back, or a year and a half back, for every dollar that they brought, they were getting 15.5 cedis. Therefore, they were able to get enough cedis to pay for the cost of production. Then your cedi became stronger and it became 10.5. The moment it became 10.5, the exports was not bringing in enough to pay for the cost of production. So in some jurisdictions, the government will even subsidize exports to make the export businesses viable. So it's a holistic approach. When you hold the currency down, there has to be incentive for people to still export. And then when you hold the currency down, what is also happening is that those companies that are in import substitution cannot compete with imports coming to be sold in the Chinese malls, because import is now cheaper. So if your company was producing certain items, now it's cheaper to import them. So if you are not careful, those companies will also go out of business. It's a balancing act. You have to increase productivity. You have to use the reduction or the strength of your city to help companies equip, because when they import those equipment, it's cheaper. So it can be a situation where within a short period of time you use it very well, but if it's going to be permanent, you can collapse all your industries. But there are those who will be happy because they are importers and now it's cheaper when they are carrying their goods. But the company that is exporting is saying to you, I'm going out of business because I can't compete. Or manufacturing is saying I can't compete. The bottom line is innovation and improve productivity. When we are innovating, I always tell people that if WhatsApp was invented by a Ghanaian, do you know how much they will be paying Ghana in taxes? And that is why the future belongs to you. Innovation belongs to you. Creativity belongs to you, the youth. But we have to create an enabling environment for you to do that. I just want you to know that it's been a great day. I came here very early, but I had to wait for a long time. I have another assignment in Accra, so if I leave before you, it's not like I don't want to hear the rest of the program. But my time is a bit constrained. But bottom line is, I want you to understand that you can do better than Dr. Yosef Edishum. You can do better than me. You can do more than me. But your mindset should be, you have a growth mindset, and you believe that everything is possible. A fixed mindset says it's not possible. If you have a growth mindset, you believe everything is possible. So if you did not hear anything at all from me today, you've heard growth versus fixed mindset. You have 10,000-hour rules, and you've also heard about the hero's journey. And one day you may be at a forum like this. You have Jeffrey Sachs, one of the world's famous economists, standing up to clap for me. It was an interesting day at Columbia University. And one day you also be at a place like this where you share ideas, your ideas with the world. Imagine you standing here, and I tell you, it will happen. If you believe it, it will happen. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, senior lecturer and the SRC, Nugs. I know somebody sent me a message and said, we need you there. We want you to come. And I said, okay, if they want me to come to EEW, the only university focused on education, Cape Coast is now diluted. You are the education people for the most part. So if UEW wants me, I'll have to be there. Cancel a lot of programs, and I came. The last thing, which I cannot forget about, is what is called learning poverty. Learning poverty. Learning poverty is a situation where students cannot read for understanding by age 10. Unfortunately for us in Ghana, 80% of our students cannot read for understanding by age 10. The World Bank says that if you have a high learning poverty rate, your country will not get out of poverty. That is why we introduced the National Standardized Test, so that we can at least measure whether Ghana is getting out of learning poverty or not. We did it primary 2, primary 4, primary 6. If this government decides to continue that, we'll be able to know whether we are moving out of learning poverty or we are not moving out of learning. The last 2 years, the exams have not been done. I hope now that the minister has settled in, he will go back and look at the National Standardized Test and make sure we do it, and we are tracking schools, we are tracking students, because it's unacceptable for students to be at age 10 and they can read. And when they can read, they don't even understand what they are reading. Singapore has a 3% learning poverty. We have 80% plus. And if there's something that needs to be eliminated, it's learning poverty. We instituted what is called Community of Excellence. We got a lot of money from Jacobs Foundation to really eliminate learning poverty. And I hope it is continued so that our nation will not be part of those nations with 87% learning poverty. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Something ought to change. Thank you so much for your attention.
Can we put our hands together once again for the Honorable Yawosei Aduchu? Because of time, I would permit 4 questions to be asked. So as quick as possible, if you run to me, the first 4 people to run to me, I'll take the question from you. So I have 1, 2, 3, the last one. Any female to ask? Our ladies. Our ladies. Oh, it looks like the feminine voices wants to be silent. Yes, and we cannot allow that. Any lady? Asantua, you have a question? No. Okay, so we have 4 gentlemen already. Okay, thank you. So, as quick as possible, a very brief and snappy one. Okay.
All right, thank you.
You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Albert Champon, level 200 student from the Art Education Department. And, Honorable, today my question is, as a former Minister of Education, what role do you believe that student leadership should play in influencing national development? And how can the collaboration between alumni and current student leadership strengthen in contribution?
Okay, can you please pass on?
You can take 2 at a time.
Okay.
All right, Honorable, thank you for the opportunity. Speaking on the need to prioritize a stronger foundational structure to enhance a permanent national development, today in Ghana, listening to your impactful presentation, I believe most schools have been totally neglected. Schools under trees, students lying on their stomach to write, school activities threatened by the least windstorm. Coming from Obuasi West constituency in Ashanti region, can I attribute this situation to leadership failure, or is it as a result of the usual cheap politics? Thank you.
Okay, so.
All right. Let me take the second one first. School and the trees. Who praised the schools and the tree? How was the school and the tree opened and staffed? It reveals a major issue with how we open schools in Ghana. That is why we established the School Planning and Development Unit to tackle that. The teacher did not just appear under the tree. See, the first time schools were created under trees was under President Nkrumah, when he started the National Education Acceleration Plan. There were no classrooms. So they said, even if it's under trees, we are going to begin. So they began. After that, he eliminated all of them. But what happens invariably is this. A community may decide to set up school with no facility, just a shed, right? And put students under it. And then, instead of us taking a cue from what they began and then building a school for them, we'll send a headmaster there. Meanwhile, GETMA may be putting up buildings somewhere. But we send a headmaster to that school under a shed. It just takes one rainstorm and the school is under a tree. And sometimes it's the growth of the existing school that puts on some of the classroom under trees. But I'll tell you this, you cannot eliminate school under trees without planning. We are not planning public schools in Ghana. Go to Kaswa. Kaswa, one of the largest populated areas in Ghana, don't have public schools. Very few public schools. If you go to Kaswa now, most of the people who live there are sending their children to what is called low-cost private schools. Schools where they pay their fees on a daily basis. So on those days that the parents don't have money, they are not going to school. And if you want a place like Kaswa to be developed, that is where the government should put in more effort and build more public schools. But they are not there. So the thing is this, it's poor planning or no planning that is leading to schools under trees. And if you don't eliminate that, you're going to have them all the time. Now, I'll show you one place. If you go to Azah in Yellow Crow, go to Jetokwai in the Volta region. These were literally dilapidated schools. You can say school under trees, and now they are transformed. I commissioned 80 schools one day. A majority of them were schools under trees. You go to Nagode, near Nyinahini, the kind of structure that was there is no longer the case. So the thing is this, if there's a sense of urgency, we can do it. But we need to prioritize it. You really need to prioritize, otherwise it cannot be done. Leadership should play, you said, Albert, you talk about the role, student leadership. I think the student leadership, what you have that others don't have is the platform to make productive noises and say this is where we want the country to be. During our time, if there was going to be a demonstration in Ghana by students, it was about a national issue. It even had nothing to do with the students' well-being. If you were to see us on the street demonstrating, we're talking about something that the country needed. We're talking about how Ghana can be under democratic governance. Student voices should be heard. But before it can be heard, you have to be organized. This room should be packed so that the political establishment take note. But if the politician come here and have a half-empty hall, your voice is limited. National Union of Ghana students cannot do an event and the place is not packed. So you really have to begin a revolution of educating your people, getting them to understand that there is a need for our voices to be heard. And if the voices are going to be heard, we have to prioritize it, because at the end of the day, let me tell you, if you don't fight for the transformation of Ghana, the whole nation is in trouble. So yes, we can help you. We can add our voice to it as a member of parliament, but your voice is louder, your voice is stronger, your voice is sharper. It's about you now. Thank you. The next two. Oh, now the ladies came.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity given to me. And my question is very brief. Per your assessment as an expert in education, do you think education system in Ghana is grooming students to be kind of leaders this nation may need in the unforeseeable future?
Can you repeat that last portion?
I said, per your assessment as an expert in education, do you think educational system in Ghana is grooming students to be the kind of leaders this nation may need in the unforeseeable future?
What we need. Okay. Now, relevance. That comes down to the relevance of the education system towards transformation. At the end of the day, you can get all students to go to school. But if the learning is not of the quality that is needed, you are not transforming their minds to do something great. You can get all students to go to school, but if the courses that they are taking is not relevant to the needs of our nation, we're in trouble. I remember our social studies, our professors, I had a fight with them. They didn't like me. Because some of them have specialized in parent education and all those things. And I was saying to them that I have a problem. The problem I have is this. You cannot do social studies without emphasizing world history, history of your nation. You can't. So I was kind of setting them back because some of them have done their research over the years, but I wanted them to change social studies in Ghana. If you were doing social studies or referring to social studies in California or the US, in 10th grade, you do world history. 11th grade, you do US history. And 12th grade, you do economics and government. So you are well-rounded. And in America, there's nothing like I'm an art student, I'm a science student, and therefore I don't do this. So if you have two twins, one went to school in America, one went to school in Ghana, and they meet after graduation of high school and they are talking, you're going to see one who knows the history of the world, who knows the history of US. Then you're going to see the Ghanaian counterparts who don't know much about the history of the world and not the history of Ghana. Because the social studies curriculum is not aligned that way. So what you study is very important. But for you in education, your question has brought a very important part. There's something called the hidden curriculum. You see, we have the explicit curriculum, we have the hidden curriculum. The hidden curriculum are ideas that are buried in books that the student is inculcating. When you are learning literature, you think you are just learning literature, but the stories in the books that you are reading is going to change your mindset and make you act and behave in a certain different way. So if your children are studying Kwaku Anansi stories, there's a need for a new Kwaku Anansi in Ghana. Not a Kwaku Anansi who want to be greedy, but a Kwaku Anansi who want to be magnanimous, a Kwaku Anansi who want to give and build his community. So a new Kwaku Anansi story must be written. But basically, we have a gap between education and transformation, and that gap has to be bridged. Otherwise, we have a problem.
So my question is, currently the junior high schools and the basic schools are going through an education system that is making them critical thinkers. But we in the tertiary school currently, most of us are still doing the chew and pour acts, of which is making it something else, in the sense that if we are to meet with these students in class or to teach them in class as teachers, I mean, somebody who is a critical thinker and then you who is somebody who have chewed and poured, how is it going to be? So what is going to happen to we the tertiary students, and then what are you doing for us as we move forward to the master's level and then to the top, so that we know how to be with them so that we don't become useless in future?
What's your name?
Edubia Felicia.
Edubia Felicia. This is a very important question. And I'll tell you this, if we had come back to government, those were the things we were going to address, the tertiary level. You see, tertiary level, you have to treat them differently. If, as a minister, like I did with the social studies, I can't do it for all other places without an incentive, right? I would rather say professors have to teach differently, we have this for you, right? I will say that organize the classes to become smaller, but I'm giving you teacher assistants. I'm building more lecture halls so that you can do just that for me. I'm also going to say that I'm giving you grant, which is free money for every professor who wants to teach differently and teach like we are teaching them students in high school. So if you create the incentives, the universities will respond. If you go to America, there's something called honors programs. So if a university accepts you and they say they've accepted you into an honors program, when you go into the program, if it's social studies education, there may be just about 50 students in the honors part, or 20 students. And the professor has time for you. Even though it's undergraduate, they will still be doing research with you and doing so many things. But you can only facilitate those innovations when you set money aside and tell the universities that we have money for you to transform teaching and learning. Because let me tell you, the students who are learning robotics, if you go to a school like Efia Kobi Girl, they are doing aviation. If you look at the kind of things they are doing in high school, when they go to the university, they will be bored. The kind of work they are doing there, building drones and flying drones. And all of a sudden, they are in the aviation program at KUS, and they are part of 500 students, and they are not building drones. They are writing about drones. And they may ask them to define what is a drone. But when he was in high school, he was building the drone. So it's a major challenge for our nation. And I hope that the current government will take a serious look at it. Because otherwise, the kind of thing the children know now in the high school classrooms, when they know about Web's depth of knowledge and all those things from junior high school, and you're going to be their teacher in high school, and the students will ask you Web's depth of knowledge and say, what is it? So I understand what you're saying. The last one, right?
Okay, thank you. First off, I'll commend your good work. You are really making an impact. I think mine was with a tertiary institution. It was a plea, actually. My sister has already talked about it, so I'll not waste so much time. Okay. Particularly UW as a leading educational institution. In some years to come, we would be very glad to be featured in your good works. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I'll appeal to the current government, and maybe in the future, if I have a chance, I'll have to do it. And the reason is very simple. You cannot talk about new way of teaching and learning in the primary schools, and then those who are supposed to go and teach them, they don't have the facilities. So in fact, I asked University of Cape Coast some time ago to do STEM education. I hope Winneba is going to do the same. That you can do mathematics, do any other subject. You can have a minor in STEM education. You may do social studies, but there's a minor in STEM education. And you know, in high schools now, we are doing performing arts. So that when you go to high school, you can, university, you can continue from there. So I think in this case there should be a trickle down, a trickle up. We started from the lower level, but it has to hit the universities. The equipment and tools that we're using in the high schools, if you look at high school science labs, they will get to the university and they'll be bought. So I think there's a sense of urgency, and you brought it to the fore. And I'm the ranking member for education on the education committee, and I'm going to raise the issue that universities have to be looked at now so that you get a facility.
Thank you very much, Doc. My name is Titus Ousudakun. I'm a national Nugs executive. There are so many Nugs current executives and former executives here. My question is about student union financing. Sometimes when the government finance student unions, they use it as a tool to suppress the union. When you were the education minister, what role did you play in financing student unions like Nugs, USAC, GAPS? And then what do you think, as a ranking member on the Education Committee in Parliament, can be done to positively finance student unions to live impact? Thank you.
I think you said it very well. I'd rather that government don't finance you. I think that there should be a very good formula where SRC dues, part of it go to Nugs. So the students are financing yourselves. If you are not careful, you give away your authority to the government in power because you are getting money from them. If you are getting money from them, how do you speak truth to power? How do you tell the government that we don't want this when they are financing? You can't. So I believe that there should be a very good financing model where SRC dues, part of it goes to Nugs and not going to government for financing. If you are self-financing, you'll be able to speak truth to power and tell whoever is in government that this is not acceptable, and your voices will be heard without any compromise.
Okay. Doc, thank you very much. My name is Osei Ajiman Prempe. I am the Faculty of Science President. That's why I want to keenly ask you this question. In your submission during the quarter's leaders strategies, the last one you mentioned, you said institute change permanently. But in your submission, you said this is not possible. Now, in a nation where the youth is actually thriving to be recognized, for jobs to be abundant so that the youth can enroll, whereas now the youth that we have in the country couldn't go through the STEM program you provided, couldn't go through the critical thinking activities for schools so that they could develop themselves individually. As a person who is so much knowledgeable in this field, what are some of the strategic roles? Since you said this is not possible, the strategic roles that the nation can adapt so that going forward we can... It will be possible.
Moving forward. You want it to be possible, right? Okay. I'll say, Ajima, you see, the point of the matter is this. We've created institutions that are so much dependent on government that is in power. So I will see STEM as a panacea. I believe STEM should be emphasized, and some people even say STEAM because you have to throw in the art to make sure you are doing a good job with everyone. But another government will come to power and STEM is not their priority. That is where you get into that problem where making a change permanent becomes difficult. But I also believe that as you rightly said, our nation is in crisis, especially when it comes to employment. And I don't think any government should be given the leeway to say, I won't do this and I will do that. If it's beneficial to the people, we have to hold their feet to the fire. If it's my government, do the same thing to me. Anything that is beneficial that the previous government started, we have to make sure we continue. For example, when I came to inherit E-blocks, under my watch, we completed more E-blocks than even under the previous government. Why? Because we felt it's people's taxes, it's not the government, the past government's money. So when you inherit it, you complete and you make it better. So if you go to Adansia Peja, there was an E-block there, and Adansia Peja is a small community. If we are going to build an E-block without boarding facilities, it cannot be operationalized. So we added boarding facilities, and now the school is filled with students. We did so many of those things at different places in the country where the E-blocks were completed but we added boarding facilities to make it more useful to the people. But I'll tell you this, the graduate unemployment situation, you refer to the fact that people are doing critical thinking now. And I'll tell you this, what I propose should happen is that we should have graduate retraining program. First of all, the government should do a labor needs assessment. And when you do the labor needs assessment, you're able to know that when it comes to cyber security, we need more people. And those people can even work for companies outside Ghana. So what do? What you do is that you remove the barriers that says if you did social studies, you cannot do cybersecurity. Maybe it take you 2 years. And somebody who did computer science, it may take them 1 year. But if that area happens to be the area of need for our nation, they should close the barriers and allow people to have graduate retraining. If it's nursing that you want to do because you want to travel abroad and become a nurse, if you did social studies, instead of 4 years, you can do 2 years. That is how it is done in other places in the world. So we need to remove the barriers. When I became minister, one thing that I really wanted to do was that we need more engineers. We don't have enough science students that can really get us the engineers we need. So I created pre-engineering program. So as I speak with you, if you go to UMass and you did not do science, you can become an engineer by doing 1 year intensive science coursework. And after that, you can become an engineer. Visual art students are becoming engineers after the 1 year intensive. Home economics, general arts, they are all becoming. And we have to, as a government, say that is the right thing to do. And I open the floodgates of innovation and engineering to all students. Because if I went to Jase Brown, so I didn't do science, and you are telling me I will never be an engineer in my lifetime, no, maybe God has given me the talent. As a government, you have to open the floodgates of innovation to everyone. Allow them if they want to. If they did not do a certain course in science, they cannot do computer science. No way. Computer science in the US, the best ones are those who know more drawing, visual arts. So we have to change a lot of things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. But Doc, before you go, Nugs have a presentation to be made to you. So Bismarck, you and your guys should, as quick as possible, do us the honor of doing this presentation to Doc.
Thank you very much, Doc. For today, I will say that I have learned only one thing today, and I wish everybody would take that home. It is paying attention to time. In fact, this morning I thought that, it will be around 12 a.m. that they will call me that Doc has arrived. But at 8:50, Doc was in Winneba. And so we will say that we are very much grateful to you. On behalf of the local Nugs UEW, we present Honorable Dr. Osei Edichum, the former minister.
Let's put our hands together for the local Nugs leadership, as well as Honorable Yao Osei Edichum, the former minister responsible for education and the member of parliament for the good people of the Bosomtwe constituency. A lot of issues have been touched on, and I believe that in the age and time as this one, these conversations are very much important to be had as far as the development of our country is concerned. I was particularly interested in the fact that he made a very important point that we cannot memorize our way out of poverty. No, we cannot do that, and I agree perfectly. He also made a very important point that leadership, or the leadership experience, is a foundation that we can build on for tomorrow. And he has made a lot of other important points, but particularly, he has told myself and you today that our country needs a change. And that change of our country in the future is in my hands, and it is also in your hands. The future of Ghana belongs to us, and we need to lead the conversations that will take us. And let's put our hands together once again for the Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Abduchum. We are grateful, sir. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of other activities we would undertake before we leave here. We'll take a few more presentations. This one is coming from, this presentation would come from the current president for the National Union of Ghana Students. And to do us the honor of introducing who the speaker is, may I invite the General Secretary for the Student Representative Council, Ms. Regina Asantewa Akoto.
Thank you. The Chairman, distinguished personalities here present, colleagues, students. It is a distinguished honor of mine to introduce to us another speaker for this occasion. He is a distinguished legal practitioner, policy advocate, and emerging thought leader committed to justice, governance, and youth empowerment. Beyond his legal work, he is actively engaged in leadership and community development, having contributed to students' leadership, youth development platforms, and civic engagement programs where he mentors young professionals. He is respected for his articulate communication, analytical skills, and dedication to excellence. He has served 2 terms of President of TAIN UPSA and is currently the President of the National Union of Ghana Students, as the MC Riley said. He is currently serving as a committee member for the Legal and Conflict Resolution Committee of the National Sports Authority Board. He is the resident diplomat of the World Diplomatic Organization representing Ghana. He is also pursuing an LLM in International Business and Commercial Law at UPSA. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome His Excellency Rashid Ibrahim to the podium.
Good afternoon, colleague students. I think before I start my speech, I would like to ask a critical question, which I believe most of you here are trained to become teachers in a way, but I did not hear anyone ask the minister, the former minister, how today we have a backlog of about 40,000 teachers from 2022, 2023, 2024. But most of you will be giving me pressure that I should be the one to hold the fort for you. When you have a minister here, no one asks a question about that. So maybe later when you meet him somewhere, at least maybe he can elaborate on that for us, because teacher recruitment is something. Okay. So teacher recruitment is something that is actually bordering on us. And I know that most of you here will become teachers very soon. So I don't know whether Honorable Minister can just touch on the response. Okay, just touch on it small for us. Thank you. Oh, okay, so no, I can finish. Yeah, I can finish. Yeah. So distinguished guests, respected alumni, fellow student leaders, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored
to be part of this important gathering and to share a few thoughts on the theme, Bridging Generations for Collective Growth in Student Leadership. This theme speaks to something very important. Leadership is a continuous journey. No generation succeeds alone. The experiences of those who came before us provide valuable lessons, while the energy, creativity, and innovation of today's generation help move society forward. When these two forces come together, progress becomes inevitable. As student leaders, we often focus on the challenges immediately before us, but it is important to remember that many of the people we admire today once sat where we sit here today. They faced similar challenges, contested student elections, advocated for students, and learned valuable leadership lessons on campus. In Ghana, leaders such as Samuel Okudjota Blakwa, Haruna Idrisu, and in fact, a distinguished former minister we have here, Dr. Osei Educhum, built part of their leadership foundations through student activism and representation. Their journey reminds us that student leadership is not simply about holding positions, but about developing the values, skills, and character needed to make meaningful impact in society. Student leadership teaches us responsibility, accountability, teamwork, and service. These qualities remain relevant long after our tenure in office comes to an end. While leadership is about advocacy, it must also be about creating opportunities for those who represent us. That is why I'm particularly excited about the introduction of the Student Entrepreneurship and Enterprise Development, simply put, the SEED program. The SEED program is an initiative being implemented through a partnership between the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, NIP, and the National Union of Ghana Students, Nugs. I am pleased to announce that the University of Education, Winneba, here, is among the 35 tertiary institutions selected to benefit from this program. The SEED program is designed to support students with innovative business ideas and entrepreneurial ambitions through training, mentorship, business development supports, and access to funding opportunities. Students will be equipped with the practical tools needed to transform their ideas into viable businesses. Most importantly, applications for the program are currently opened. I therefore encourage every student with an existing business, a creative idea, or a passion for entrepreneurship to visit the online application portal and apply now. Successful applicants will receive training, mentorship, and funding support to help grow their ventures. The objective of SEED is clear: to empower young people to become job creators instead of job seekers. The fact is that the government cannot employ all of us. So, as student leaders and as leaders at this stage, the only thing we can do is that advocate for people, students who are business owners, students who have businesses, to also get some support to run their own businesses. Because imagine you supporting a student business, do his delivery services, or maybe into food packaging and others. He will also finish to employ a lot of people. So that is the more reason why we've launched the SEED program to train you. You will give you some grants. After everything, after undergoing the training, you'll be allowed to pitch your business. There will be an exhibition. Come and actually prove how genuine your business is. If we find out your business is something that is genuine, something that is scalable, that can employ people, we'll give you some funding. The funding ranges from 50,000 Ghana cedis. The lowest you can get is about 20,000 Ghana cedis. The portal is currently opened. Your SRC president and PRO is currently circulating the online portal on your various platforms. Kindly take advantage and apply. The whole Ghana, we've selected only 35 schools. And the 35 schools, UEW happens to be one of them. So please, kindly take opportunity, apply, and get some funding to support your business. Ladies and gentlemen, this initiative could not have come at a better time. Studies have shown that close to 100,000 graduates complete tertiary education in Ghana each year, many of whom struggle to secure employment after graduation. This reality calls for practical solutions. The SEED program provides one of such solutions by helping students develop sustainable businesses that can create jobs not only for themselves, but also for others. As student leaders, we must continue to champion programs that equip students with skills and opportunities beyond the classroom. At the same time, we must remain committed to protecting the welfare of students. Many of you are aware of Nugs' ongoing advocacy regarding the rising cost of hostel facilities and the challenges students face in securing affordable accommodation. Through sustained engagement and advocacy, important interventions have been undertaken to address these concerns. To further support students, Nugs has introduced the Rent Care Unit app, a platform that allows students to report issues such as excessive hostel charges, unfair rental practices, poor accommodation conditions, and other related concerns. These complaints are escalated to the appropriate authorities for actions to be taken. I encourage all students to make use of this platform whenever the need arises. Together, we can work towards ensuring that students are treated fairly and have access to safe and affordable accommodation. To my fellow student leaders, I want to leave you with this simple message. Learn from those who came before you, but do not be afraid to bring new ideas to the table. Seek mentorship, build relationships, and focus on creating lasting impact rather than temporary recognition. The true measure of leadership is not the title we hold, but the difference we make in the lives of others and the institutions we serve. As we bridge generations, let us choose collaboration over division, service over self-interest, and excellence over mediocrity. If we do this, we will leave behind a legacy that future generations will be proud of to build upon. Thank you, and I wish you fruitful deliberations throughout this conference.
This is our own voice, the Nugs president. Let's do it again for him. Thank you very much. I think there was an important question before he zoomed into his presentation, and we'll give the former Minister for Education one more opportunity to respond to that. Let's put our hands together once again for the former Minister.
Thank you so much, Excellency, about the teacher employment situation. We are in a crisis, a major crisis, and thank you for reminding me to speak about it. You should know that according to African Education Watch, 30,000 classrooms are without teachers now. 30,000 classrooms, because 2 years in a row, we have not recruited at the level that we should. Look at the data here of our work. 2017, we recruited 14,000 teachers. 2018, there was no recruitment, but that is when they began the national service. So there was no recruitment. But I go to in 2019 too, we only did the non-teaching. Then go to 2020, that is when we were able to do the 2019 and 2020 to the tune of 26,000, non-teaching 1,135. Then go to 2021, under my watch, 16,850 teachers. 2022, there were two batches. One was the graduate teachers, 3,803. Then colleges of education, 18,850. Then 2023 again, 2023, 13,000. 2023, 2,009. 2024, 18,500 students, teachers were recruited. During the 8 years, we recruited 124,120. I make a special plea to the Minister for Finance to help my brother, the Education Minister. 30,000 classrooms are without teachers, which translate to about 1 million students. At places like Prestia, parents are hiring people to go and teach their children in public school. The Education Minister must be supported by the Finance Minister. Clearance should be given now, because it's hurting the country. 7,000, no. Honorable Atuforsen must help the education minister with a serious intervention, because we cannot be like other countries where there are no teachers in the classroom. Also, Your Excellency, I'm grateful. This is our record, 124,120. At minimum, the last 2 years we should have done 30,000, and we're doing 7,000. It's not good for Ghana. Finance Minister must give education a push by releasing clearance for us to hire more teachers. Thank you, Excellency, for reminding me.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Former Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Osei Aduchum. The records have been made, and a call has been made to the Finance Minister to, as a matter of urgency, make sure resources will be allocated for some of these things to be done. And thank you very much, the Nugs President, for bringing to attention this very, very important issue that has been a point of discussion over a period of time as far as the development of our beautiful country, Ghana, is concerned. We've been sitting for quite a long time, and I'm sure most of us are getting tired already. Don't worry, we have the Trojans and Gavians here. They will entertain us and take us through. But before we invite them to do anything, we'll take one more presentation, and this one is going to be, okay, so I've been prompted that, just as the former minister said, there are other engagements, and so if you see him take leave of us, even though in person he's not here, but the spirit is still with us to make sure we run through this program to a very successful end. May I remind you that there are lots of, in fact, lots of item 13 available for you. And this one is not just snacks. It's something that if you take and you don't eat again, you can sleep till tomorrow. So please, make sure you don't leave us early. We will all walk through the program and be done early. And then I'm also reliably informed that the Student Loan Trust Fund have a desk out there. So any challenge with respect to student loan application and even disbursement, when you approach them, they are in a better position to give you the needed assistance. Thank you very much. And so okay, so may I invite Trojans, 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 kindly do us the honor of taking over from me. Thank you. Thank you very much, Trojans. Let's put our hands together for the Trojans. Thank you. That was powerful. I'm sure you would have another opportunity to entertain us before we finally bring this program to a close. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests present, we will take the next presentation. But before we do that, let me remind you, we are streaming live on Facebook at Radio Windy Bay. And we are present here at the Jofosa Namwa Mensa Conference Center, where we are having the Nugs Leadership Conference and Alumni Connect 1.0 under the theme, Bridging Generations for Collective Growth in Student Leadership. And this conversation has become relatively important today as we gear up for future positions and future leadership roles very soon. And so I'm sure from here, we are all going into the national front to make sure Ghana becomes a better country we have hoped and always prayed for. We shall take the next presentation from a respected speaker, and to do us the honor of introducing this speaker to us, join me welcome to the podium Miss Ellen Pencil, the Deputy Public Relations Officer for the Student Representative Council, University of Education, Winneba. Thank you.
The chairperson, distinguished guests present, and all students, it is my great honor to introduce to you our next speaker, Mr. Obeng Ejenim Boateng. Mr. Obeng Ejenim Boateng is a Ghanaian youth leader, communications professional, and development advocate. He serves as the Deputy Regional Youth Organizer of the NDC in the Bono East region, Director of Corporate Communications at the Student Loan Trust Fund, and the founder of the Ejenim Boateng Foundation, an organization dedicated to youth empowerment, mentorship, and leadership development. Academically, he holds a Master's of Public Administration from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, a bachelor's degree in French education from the University of Cape Coast, and a diploma in basic education from Wesley College of Education. He is currently a final year LLB student at Wisconsin International University College and is pursuing a Master's of Arts in Education, Communication Studies at Christian Service University. With extensive experience in youth leadership, public communication, and community development, Mr. Obeng Ejenim Boateng is passionate about mentoring young people, promoting civic engagement, and contributing to national development through impactful leadership and strategic communication. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mr. Obeng Ejenim Boateng to the stage.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be here this afternoon. Distinguished invited guests, student leaders, colleagues, good afternoon once more. Right. Like I said earlier, I am elated to be here this afternoon and to have mounted this podium to say a few words to all of us. Let me be very quick to say that this action by the local Nugs president to bring young people, bring students, former student leaders, and a host of others into this great hall is a great achievement which needs to be lauded.
As I sit and witness speeches from invited guests, something was running through my mind, and that is to say that this is the first of its kind that I have witnessed for over the period of years as a student leader, now as a political leader, having witnessed a program of this nature. It is well organized, and I think the local Nugs leadership needs a commendation. The local Nugs leadership of UEW has answered the questions that our team was bringing forth. And that is, great leaders do not only occupy positions, they create pathways for others to succeed. Mr. President, you and your team have created a path for successive leaders to go through, and that is again commendable. I am standing here in two capacities. One, as a young political leader, as a young man who is into leadership and well vested into issues of leadership. And two, as corporate communications director for the Student Loan Trust Fund, Ghana. Let me first say that we're talking about bridging generations for collective growth in student leadership. We have past student leaders seated here. What legacies did we leave behind? Are we serving as barriers, or we are serving as bridges? If we want to bring generations together to learn from our experiences, collective experiences, those experiences must be positive experiences. More often than not, we have seen student leaders who complete various institutions and are unable to come back to those institutions. And that is what is killing all of us. Student leaders hands over to a new generation. And most often, the handing overs are not even done properly because there is this malfeasance, embezzlement, corruption that has licked the intestines of many Ghanaian student leaders like us. And so I ask the question, are we proud coming back to UEW? If yes, are we the only former student leaders here, or are we having few? And what advice is that giving all of us? When we get the opportunity, how do we use the opportunity to serve our students and our collective interests? That is the matter of the day, and that is the big issue. Mr. President, you are a generation. Would you be happy to come back again to share your experience with the next Nugs leadership in UEW? If yes, it means that you have done your work well and you are praying to do your work well. I will entreat all of us to be very responsive, very responsible when we get the opportunity to serve. If we are bringing generations together to share experience, thinking that will impact the next generation of leadership, are we bringing also the bad nuts of former student leaders and alumni? We can be counting. As I speak, most of you are reminiscing some bad leaderships you have experienced. You have had SRC presidents You've had SRC executives. You've had women's commissioners. You've had Nugs presidents. How will they serve you? Like I stated earlier, most student leaders even complete school without handing over properly. And are they the people we are calling to share their experience with us? Are they the people we are calling to share their experience with us? Student leadership is a preparation for national leadership. You take it or not. I want to repeat this, that student leadership is a preparation for national leadership. In the past 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, we had the likes of the Kujatwa Blackwell standing in our shoes today. We had the likes of Sam George, Sami Jamfi, Samia Uku, Nana B, and a host of others. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say, without any iota of doubt, that the future we are talking about begins today. And if we student leaders are unable to manage our institutions, our portfolios, our colleague students, it points at a very particular place, showcasing that in the future, when we get the opportunity to serve Ghana at any capacity, we will not be able to serve well. And so, in as much as we have had the interest, we have had the plan to bring former student leaders, alumni, and all those people together to share their experiences with us, we must not also be afraid to call out the bad ones. Mr. President, I took over as SRC General Secretary from a gentleman in Westco, Wesley College of Education in Kumasi. And there is an association called Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana, which were members. The day I entered the TAG Congress for the first time, I cried and wept for Mother Ghana, because the corruption that has bathed that student institution was mind-boggling. And I asked, is this a training grounds for future Ghanaian leaders? Ladies and gentlemen, the short story is that today most of those people I witnessed who couldn't account for their stewardship are nowhere to be found close to power or close to anything related to leadership in Ghana. Some of them see their colleagues and they run away. Some of your colleagues see you and they run away because you've had bad experiences with them. I want to encourage all of you that if we are past executives and we've been able to make it here, we should impact positively on the current generation, because the future of Ghana rests on our shoulders. We must carefully select mentorship. We must carefully select mentors, people who are ready to mentor us to become who we want to be in the future. We often say that mentors are grown-ups. They are people who have achieved it in life. Your colleagues could be your mentors. Your colleagues seated behind you could be your mentors. Let us not look far. We rush to take contacts from dignitaries. But the real agent of change in your life and your leadership career is sitting behind you. I've always said this, and I will say it anywhere I go. There is a gentleman who was supposed to be a school father to another gentleman. Today, as I speak, the supposedly godfather is now a PA to the school son. In this government, in this current NDC government. So you have friends. You are an SRC president. You are a Nugs president. You can help your WUCOM to achieve her dreams in leadership and become a PA to your WUCOM. Your WUCOM could easily become a minister. You become your WUCOM's PA. It doesn't matter. When you see great people, help them to achieve their aims and aspirations in life. That would also benefit your entire leadership journey. Ladies and gentlemen, I came not to say a lot, but I came to encourage all of you that as young leaders, whatever we do, we must be rest assured that people are watching. People are watching. I chanced on a TV program where a gentleman was representing a political party. And there was this young man passing, he said, Akwa way, you was school more boy, a cronu, we are a sick, I want a TV so Kasama party. What and how will our stories be written after leaving these corridors? That is a matter of importance. We must deliberately call our former leaders, ask them questions where they failed to learn from them. When we inherit power from people, they become our enemies. People hand over power to people, they don't even talk to them after handing over. That is very wrong. We must build on experience. But when the leader is bad, don't learn from that leader. Thank you very much. I would want to touch on student loan, trust fund, no fee stress, and matters arising. Some of you are beneficiaries of student loan. Others are beneficiaries of the no fee stress. Others have tried and they are unable to get into the portal. Others got into the portal, they didn't get their monies reimbursed to them. What is your issue? I wouldn't want to make any presentation on student loan and the packages we have. I would want to invite questions. You ask me the questions, I answer you, and we end the conversation. I can see you are tired already. And so if anyone has any question relating to student loan, you can ask and I'll give you the answer. Then we'll move forward. Thank you.
Yes, so if there is any question, I may want to take about 4 of them. So if you have any, let's see you. Okay. Any other? Any more? This is student loan we are talking about. Or you don't want the cash? Okay.
Thank you so much. My name is Bright Jan, the Public Relations Officer for the Political Science Department. And my question will center on the no fee stress. There are quite a number of people who have successfully applied. They had SMS, their bank accounts were given to them.
Okay.
They were on pending disbursement. Now they have been brought back to pending processing. And they will call you to tell you that they applied with their friends, but they have received their money. Okay. So we want to know if there are quite a number of people, especially in UEW. So we want to know what is causing this from pending disbursement to pending processing. Others too, they did everything correct. They have been given message that their money has been disbursed, but there's nothing in the account. So we want to know how and what is causing that.
All right. I think that's the only question, right?
Okay. I think there's one more coming up there.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Don Benjamin, accounting department. Please, I want to ask, when they are filling the form for no face stress, our course, which is account education, is not part. And then there's a form that was given out again that it was BS accounting, not our course. So most of our colleagues use postgraduate accounting education for their filling of no face stress. As of now, let me say almost 90% of our class, there are no face stress yet out. Please, what I do about that? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. My name is Renew Kwabuna Beckley. My question also is going to be based on the no fee stress. And then quite a number of students from UW actually applied, and then their status is showing failed processing. So I'd like to ask, what is the step or what next should they do?
Pending processing?
No, failed processing.
Failed processing.
Yes. Maybe, I don't know what they should do, so I'll ask what is the next step they should take after the field processing. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, starting from the field processing, student loan is dealing with a very robust IT system. I cannot tell your actions during the processing, what you fed the system that generated the field processing to you. But last year, we encountered a challenge. And let me be very brief here. The reason why we are doing the reimbursement is that those of you who are in level 200, you were admitted in September 2024, meaning before the NDC government took office, you were already in school. That was January. So, but before we took office, their processes, admission process and all those things were done, right? And so the only available means President could pay your money back to you was to reimburse you. The money couldn't have been paid straight away to you as a student because you already had your admission. Some of you had entered the institutions already. Chief. So, we won power in December. January, February, March, April. That was even when student loan appointment happened. We didn't have a chief executive officer and all those things. And so, before we took over the reins of power at student loan, students were already in school. And so the only way President could give you your money was to reimburse you through the process we're having right now. And so we started that process to pay back the money into your account. And that was why we launched the portal. Now, after the first one, what we decided to do was to have a stakeholder engagement where we'll engage heads of institutions in Ghana, nursing training institutions, teacher training institutions, and public universities like UEW. In fact, the teacher training institutions and the nursing training institutions are Greek colleges accepted that they want the money reimbursed into the institutions, so that they could use that to pay that academic user fee component of the student school fee straight away. And so this year, as we speak, nursing training, teacher trainees, we are not reimbursing them. We've paid the monies directly to the institutions. But our university institutional head says no. They are afraid that they will say, okay, government, give us the money for us to defray that part of the academic user fee. And possibly there could be a delay in government paying the monies to the institutions. And so they didn't agree. And that is why we are doing reimbursement again with you as students in level 100. Your colleagues at teacher training and nursing training have been paid already. And so this is the background of the reimbursement processes. We had a lot of challenges. Some of you were having your names differently from on your Ghana card as compared to the ones you used to apply. Others, your institutions failed to submit your details to student loan. Some of you, your courses were not accredited by GTEC. And that answers the question my friend asked, that they are doing B.Ed accounting. My brother, the truth is that we have accredited public tertiary institutions, and we have accredited programs in those institutions. There are some programs that have not been accredited by GTEC. And so if you're a student offering that program, student loan cannot pay you those monies. That must be established. And so you must be having a conversation with your institutions. Ask them that the program I am currently doing, is it accredited by GTEC? If the program is not accredited by GTEC, student loan cannot pay you. We've had similar issues at Amstead. Your colleagues at Kumasi campus, they are running series of programs that were not accredited by GTEC, and because of that, we couldn't pay the students, and it has become a challenge. And so, kindly get back to your institution, ask them the truth in the registration of your program from GTEC. When that is done, we can take it from there. And if you are having any serious issue regards to the reimbursement processes, you send me your Ghana card. If it's a peculiar issue, if it's not a group issue, you send your Ghana card to the Nugs president. When I get a Ghana card, I will look at the issues you are facing, and then we have a possible way of solving them. Hello. Yes. Then, pending disbursements and then pending process. Like I said earlier, we running an IT system, and one cannot tell at any point in time what happens. And so when you are pending disbursement, it means that the process has gotten to a stage where we are processing your your monies into your bank account. Now, when it gets back to pending process, it means it is in a process, the money is in the process of getting into your bank account. These are different things altogether. In the disbursement processes, it is a process on its own. And then in the payment into your bank account, that is also a process on its own. And so when it is pending process, it means that there is a process leading into the money landing into your bank account. And that is very simple and understandable. I don't know if we are all getting it. So these are the answers to your questions. If there are any, you can submit for us to do justice to them. Okay. All right. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Can we do it much better? We have been taken through the issues by the Honorable Obin Ajenim Boateng, the Director for Corporate Communications at the Student Loan Trust Fund. And I believe that all issues that we had, we have to a larger extent sought clarification and have been given duly. In his presentation, a lot of issues he touched on are very relevant in our body politic today as well as that shapes our aspirations into becoming the future leaders we want to be. He has indicated today that the future we have been praying for is nowhere far from us. The future begins today. And so every one thing we are doing is part of the future you are praying for, and hence we must be guarded. He has also taken us through the fact that student leaders most often do not hand over the proper way they should. And so if you're a student leader here, Nugs president and all other leaders here, make sure you leave office with a good name so that we don't have to come chasing you. We have had instances where we are told people leave with the property of the school, among others, and I'm sure this will not happen again. He has also said that the corruption at the student front is unmeasured, and I believe tomorrow when you have the opportunity, you will be guided. You will not go into the same act that has not given us a good name as a student body. And then finally, he has really given us a piece of advice that our experiences today will guide us tomorrow. And so make sure you are picking up the best of experiences to live up to the task when finally you are given the mandate to do so. Once again, let's celebrate Mr. Obey Ajenim Boateng for such a wonderful presentation. I'll now call on Nugs. If you have any presentation, local Nugs UEW, kindly do us the honor as quick as possible as the next speaker, in fact, the next and final speaker prepares to give his address. And so we'll be out of here soon. Don't go. I've seen from the back that item 13 is ready. In fact, it is ready. And the quantity I'm seeing, maybe you can get 3. You're happy about that, right? And so let's wait. Nugs, please kindly do your presentation. Mr. Janim, kindly join us upstage so we do this one real quick. Thank you.
So, you will help me to say a very big thank you to Mr. Ajenim Boateng. In fact, I had his number from a friend, and then immediately I said, "Hello, sir. We are having a program on 30th June. We want you to be here to come and talk to us." And the next answer was, "Yes, I will come."
Wow.
And so, help me say a very big thank you to him.
Thank you, local Nugs UEW. If you have joined us on Facebook via Radio Windy Bay, we are here at the Jofozana Mensa Conference Center, University of Education, Winneba. And this is where we are presenting to you the Nugs Leadership Conference and Alumni Connect 1.0. We have already had a presentation from the former minister responsible for education. We have also taken that of the president for Nugs National, and we have just taken the presentation of the Director of Corporate Communications for Student Loan Trust Fund. We are proceeding now to take another presentation, which will be actually the final presentation for the day. And to do us the honor of introducing who this wonderful speaker is, may I invite to join me here Ms. Comfort Abena Akwe to help us introduce the next speaker.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, faculty members, and students here, good afternoon. It is a great honor to introduce a young leader whose life exemplifies the pursuit of excellence through leadership and service. For an early age, he demonstrated a remarkable sense of responsibility and a passion for serving others. His leadership journey began in primary school, where he served as a senior prefect, a role he continued in junior high school. In senior high school, his commitment to leadership grew even stronger as he held several key positions, including House General Secretary, Secretary of the Debating and Drama Club, and President of the National Commission for Civic Education in his final year. His dedication to leadership and advocacy continued at a tertiary level when he pursued a Bachelor of Arts in English Language Education at the University of Education, Winneba. During his time there, he distinguished himself as a strong voice for students, serving as the local president of the National Union of Ghana Students. He later served as a head officer of the National Student Loan Scheme, where he played an important role in overseeing and supporting tertiary institutions across Ghana. His outstanding contributions to student leadership and national advocacy culminated in his election in 2024 as the 57th General Secretary for the National Union of Ghana Students, representing more than 12.5 million students across the country. Through this position, he has championed educational development, policy engagement, and the welfare of students nationwide. Currently, he is furthering his academic journey as a post-first degree LLB student at the University of Ghana, Legon, where he also served as a senator of the University of Ghana Law Students Union. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Ismail Tohansi Ishaki. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think I have been placed at the most difficult part of the conversation. To be placed as the final and last speaker of a conversation is one of the most difficult tasks. When senior-most lecturers of our university have spoken, when the former Minister of Education has spoken, and when the Director of Communications and Student Loan have spoken, and when the current Nugs President has spoken, it seems to me that all that I had in mind had already been discussed. But as somebody who has walked the corridors of this noble institution, I definitely must have something to tell you. I humbly beseech all of you to listen attentively, because this is a practical conversation that I had a first-hand experience in the corridors of this noble university. The chairman of today's conference, our own senior lecturer, Dr. Simon Che, the Director of Corporate Communication, Student Loan Trust Fund, Comrade Obin Ajenim Boatin, my brother and the current President of the National Union of Ghana Students, Rashid Ibrahim Esquire, the current General Secretary of the National Union of Ghana Students, the Secretary for Entrepreneurship, Skills and Innovation, the SRC President and the SRC Vice President of the University of Education, Winneba, the convener and leader of the 29th Local Nugs Administration, His Excellency Bismarck Owusu Achampong, distinguished alumni present, invited guests, fellow student leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Standing here today fills me with an overwhelming sense of nostalgia. It was only a few years ago, in the 2021-2022 academic year, that I sat exactly where you are sitting, carrying the heavy yet beautiful mantle as the local Nugs President of the University of Education, Winneba. It was from this very training grounds that I stepped out to serve as the National Students Loan Trust Fund Coordinator for all tertiary schools, and ultimately as the 57th General Secretary of the National Union of Ghana Student Nugs. I know these grounds, ladies and gentlemen. I know the unique anxieties in this auditorium. And more importantly, I know the infinite power that is locked inside this room today. Let's begin the conversation today with the crucible, student leadership, and the impact of Nugs. Our theme today asks us to reflect on bridging generation for collective growth in student leadership. But to bridge generation, we must first understand what the true weight of what we are discussing, which is what is student leadership. Many outside the walls of this auditorium looks at student politics or leadership as nothing but an arena of noisy agitation, colorful flyers, and ambitious youth chasing for titles. They are completely wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Student leadership is the primary laboratory for national transformation. It is the crucible where raw potentials are melted down and forged into steel. When you step into student leadership, you are not merely playing a game of campus popularity, you are stepping into a century-old tradition of advocacy, governance, and structural impact. Leadership is not the titles we wear on our lapels, it is the scars we bear defending the collective interests of those who trusted us with their silence. This brings me directly to the impact of the National Union of Ghana Students, now led by His Excellency Ibrahim Rashid Esquire. Nugs is not just an acronym. It is the ultimate shield and the mouthpiece of Ghanaian students, both home and abroad. From its inception, Nugs have been an institutional giant that stands between retrogressive policies and the welfare of Ghanaian students. When government policies threaten the access to education, Nugs speaks. When legislation instrument seeks to burden the ordinary Ghanaian student, Nugs negotiate, resist, and reform. We do not just take part in legislation, we command the active seat at the table where the destiny of Ghanaian students are decided. For a student leader, the impact of being plugged into Nugs framework is transformational. It stretches your vision far beyond the perimeters of your university. It forces you to realize that the responsibility as a leader is not to organize campus entertainment, but it is to make sure that the life of Ghanaian students is made structurally easier. It teaches you how state diplomacy, nature resource mobilization, and crisis management. Long before you lead a country, you learn to lead a committee. Long before you manage millions, you learn to manage student budget. Long before you negotiate national policies, you learn to negotiate among your colleagues. Leadership is practice, and the universities are the laboratory for that particular practice. Nugs take a local leader and transform them into national statesmen. It breaks your provincial limitation and forces you to think for millions. It taught me how to look raw power in the eye and negotiate without blinking. A lesson no classroom or textbook could have taught me. Let's continue the conversation, ladies and gentlemen, with the unspoken reality. Speaking of the silent majority. Ladies and gentlemen, you will bear with me. Not all of you would have the opportunity to serve as SRC president. Not all of you would have the opportunity to serve as Nugs president. Not all of you would have the opportunity to lead the conversations of students' union. As I look around in this room, my heart does not only beat for the student leaders seated in front in their nice outfits and with their name tags. My heart beats boldly and perhaps even more deeply for the vast majority who are not student leaders. My heart beats for the hundreds of students who came into this conference room today searching for the very answers to the silent anxieties that keeps you awake at night in your hostels. Let us strip away from the diplomatic pleasantries today and speak the absolute truth. I know exactly who is in this room. I know we are gathered in an educational institution, and it is an institution by legislation created to train teachers. I know, ladies and gentlemen, that not all of you sitting in this room dreamt of becoming teachers. I know that for many of you, UEW was not your first choice. I know the stories because they are stories of our reality. Some of you are here simply because it was the most financial economical for your poor parents. Like many of us who grew up in the hinterlands, many have the notion that there are two things that you must study to get easy employment. You either become a teacher or you go to a nursing training. Some of you are here because after years of staying at home after high school, you became completely desperate to step into the tertiary school. And there was Winneba. it opened the doors and welcomed you. Some of you are currently sitting in lecture halls reading courses that you have absolute zero interest in. You look at the course registrations and feel a deep sense of disconnection, wondering, what am I doing here? Is this what my life is going to be? If you belong to this category, ladies and gentlemen, if you feel this heavy weight in your chest, I have come to Winneba today, the very corridors that trained me 6 years ago, today with a message specifically for you. Your current location is not your final destination. And your uninspiring courses you are studying is not a life sentence. The university may choose your course of study, but they can never choose the trajectory of your success. The degree gets you the door open, but your strategic choices opens it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, do not allow the next few years to pass by in a state of resentful paralysis. If you find yourself doing a course you do not have interest in, you must immediately shift from a posture of complaint to a strategy of execution. The modern global economy does not pay people exclusively for what their certificates say. It pays people for what you can systematically solve. Your certificate proves that you can learn. Your skills prove you can execute. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth area, the master key. You say, gentlemen, you've identified the problem. Yes, indeed, some of us are here not because we wanted to be teachers. What are we going to do? Listen attentively to the master key. This brings us to the ultimate question that hangs every student in university. Life after school. How do you prepare yourself for a higher competitive and forgiving job market? It is true that the student leadership provides an exceptional fast track. It gives people like myself, like the Nugs president, like your SLC president, the opportunity to liaise with statesmen. It gives them the opportunity to liaise with ministers of state. Some few minutes ago, Shrami Opon Daniel, the then president of Nugs, walked in here with the Minister of Education. Not because of the course he studied at KNUST, but because he was privileged to be serving as Nugs president the time the Minister of Education was the Minister of Education. And because while serving as the Nugs president, he built a very good relationship with the Minister of Education. Today he stepped in here with his two most faithful allies as a personal assistant to the former Minister of Education. Today, Rashid Ibrahim Esquire has no subject matter or issue about employment. The gentleman has built himself. He's created the connections. The question is that if you are not a student leader, what do you do? What happens to the rest of the student? What happened to the student who is too shy to contest election? What happened to the student who does not have the financial capacity or the social currency to run a campus campaign? Are they content to structural unemployment? Are they locked out of progress? My answer is emphatically, resounding no, spelled in capital letters N-O. There is a democratic master key that is available to every single student in this auditorium. Regardless of your background, regardless of your GPA or your political status, that master key is the strategic mastery of internship opportunity. Listen to me attentively. The master key is internship opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Your long vacations should never be treated as mere period of idle relaxations. They are the golden windows of occupational positioning. If you dream of working in a multinational bank, a cutting-edge tech firm, a prestigious non-governmental organization, or a high-impact state agency, do not wait until you graduate to send them a cover letter. Force your way into their ecosystem right now through internship. Even if they do not advertise for internship, pack your bags, print your CV, dress in the finest professional attire, walk into the corporate office and tell them, Mr. Obing, my name is Ismail Tuhesung Isahak.
a student at the University of Education, Winneba, studying this program. I avail myself to you today and the Student Loan Trust Fund to work for you freely, to work whilst I learn under your noble self. Say this to Mr. Obeng, and I dare you, no institution or organization will return you back to your home of giving them free service. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to the secret. Once Mr. Obeng opens the windows for you to enter Student Loan Trust Fund, your politics begin. Your campaign begins. The internship have opened the door. That is where the real campaign begins for you. What do? You do not show up there looking tired and acting entitled. You arrive 30 minutes before and you leave 30 minutes after we get closed. You put your best attitude. Let Mr. Obeng and the entire leadership of that particular institution you are doing the internship, let them see practically your attitude. You execute tasks with flawless precision. You volunteer for duties that others find tedious. You show a relentless appetite for growth and problem solving. When this happens, you know where you are positioning yourself. You trigger an irreversible psychological law of value. Through that internship, you begin to build deep, organic, and unshakable connections within that institutional structure. The directors, the managers, the executives will watch your work ethics day by day. They will interact with your character. And when the time comes for permanent employment, they will not look at a pile of cold, nameless CVs of strangers. They will remember that brilliant young man from Winneba who willingly, wholeheartedly served Mr. Obeng, even if it is watching you are buying for him each and every day. When the opportunity comes, he will not deny you. He will position you. Mr. Obeng, I believe you will do that for my students. Mr. Obeng is saying yes. Ladies and gentlemen, a call to the collective vanguard. Friends, noble students of UEW, as I bring this address to a closure, let us remember the true essence of bridging generations. To the student leaders of SLC and local Nugs, your duty is to build an inclusive bridge. Do not leave the silent majority behind. Create professional avenues. Secure internship opportunities for them. Go and negotiate with the company. Give at least 30 students for 2-month internship each to them. And build framework of democratizing opportunities for every student on this campus. And to the beautiful, resilient, and unstoppable students of the University of Education, Winneba, your destiny is far too massive to be limited in the temporary sense of disappointment. Do not let your presence here be a passive waiting room for graduation. Transform this campus into your personal launch pad. Build your skills, guide your attitude, maximize your internship, and protect your name. The Ismail Tuoswing Isahak I carry is all I have. When they enter the chamber of opportunities, is that name. It's either they rule it out or they put it in. Protect your name. Be careful of social media and how you behave. Be mindful of how you dress when you get to campus. Be very mindful. Ladies and gentlemen, and attach your future with an unapologetic ferocity. When you leave this auditorium today, do not walk out the same anxieties you brought in. Walk out with your shoulders squared and your head held high. Go back to your lecture halls, your hostels, and your communities, and feel the sacred oath we sang at the beginning of the hour. Let us go forth to lead. Let us go forth to serve. And together, let us build a nation that is truly great and strong. The future of Ghana is not within the walls of Parliament. It is within the lecture halls. It is within the laboratories. It is within your internship institutions. It is within the libraries. It is waiting in the heart of students who chooses service over status, excellence over excuses, and purpose over popularity. when the history is written. I pray that your Lord and my Lord, the God of Abraham, Moses, and Jacob and Muhammad, that may your name not appear merely among those who attended this great university, but among those who transformed the nation Mother Ghana. Thank you very much for giving me a listening ear. May God bless each and every one of you. May God bless the National Union of Ghana Students. May God bless UEWSRC and bless our homeland Ghana. Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Wow. He is from our port. He was groomed here. He was nurtured here. And he went out there to make impact. I remember when he was being vetted for the local Nugs president, somebody say, and Jesus wept. Those of us who were there on that fateful day, we saw tears running down the eyes of the gentleman. And when he was given the opportunity to lead, he changed the narrative. In fact, he has actually lived everything he has communicated to us today. I remember leaving the vetting room with a friend, and that person said, I was not for Ishmael, but for his vetting today, I am going all out for him. And that led him to becoming the local Nugs president, UEW. And when he had the vision to contest for Nugs secretary, in fact, most of us felt that was not possible. Because early on, he wanted to go for secretary for education. And then in the last minute, the idea changed that he was going for secretary. And we're like, Charlie, UEW for your call, we always lose to the other universities. But this gentleman said, we have to change the narrative. And in that particular year, the narrative was changed. We are so proud of you, Mr. Ishmael Tohisong Isahak. You have contributed your bit to the university, and we are grateful. As the program was going on, we were joined by the former president for the Student Representative Council, His Excellency Godwin Francis Asare. Is he still with us? Okay, he's at the back. We are very much privileged for your presence here today. Every journey that begins with a step will usually end with another step. We began this program somewhere around 11 a.m. We have fought on and fought through, and at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost drawing curtains down to say finally that we have brought this program to a successful close. Just as I have been informing you, wait patiently. You will be refreshed before you leave the premises of this auditorium. May I have or take this opportunity to say a very big thank you to the organizers of this program for putting together these stores and making sure it does not end at the thinking stage, but proceeded to becoming an implementable idea which has gathered us here today for this very, very, very important conversation that has really motivated us to take over the future of our country from now. We also want to say a special thank you to the Honorable Osei Yawaduchum, the former minister responsible for education, who was a keynote speaker for this program. Out of his tight schedule, he decided that he would be here today, and indeed he was here and on time. We appreciate his presence here so much. I also want to appreciate especially the presence of the Director for Corporate Communications at the Student Loan Trust Fund, Mr. Obing Ejenim Boateng, who is also the youth organizer for the Bono East Region, NDC. We are so much grateful to you, sir. It couldn't have been possible without your presence today. We also want to say a special thank you to the Nugs president, Mr. Rashid, you as well as your other executives you came with. We are particularly elated to have received you to be part of this program. We do not take it lightly. And also to Radio Windy Bay, you have made it possible for those who are not in this auditorium to be part of this program. And to our chairman, who in no time we shall receive his closing remarks. Chairman, we are so grateful to you. The time you entered, I was like, hey, chairman is you. The program has not even started, but you have sat through to now. I know you have other engagements, but you have made this a priority, and we so much appreciate that. We also appreciate once again the sound engineer who has made it possible for my audiences to hear us. We are grateful to you. To the media team, the SRC media, and all other people, I've seen Oheneba here. We are grateful to all of you for capturing moments like this one. To the SRC president, we thank you so much. You have been a backbone and a help for the organization of this program, and we are grateful. To the SRC executives, without your involvement, I believe we wouldn't have come this far, and so we are grateful to you. And to the local Nugs leadership, from the secretary to the WUCOM to every one of you, your contribution is what has made this program seem the light of the day, and we do not take that for granted. And to the people who have ushered us into this auditorium and made sure we had good places to be seated for this program, our dear ushers, we so much appreciate your time and your sacrifices. To our sign language interpreters, we cannot do without you, especially in a diverse university we have like this one. We are particularly grateful to you for coming. To everyone who has been here from the start of the program, we say thank you so much. To Mr. Ishmael for his song, we cannot thank you enough. You have always been a call away from us whenever we need you. And to you who took the pain to dress up and come here to sit all through these hours to make sure we have had this program, we say thank you very, very much. And to my very own people, Trojans, thank you very much, Trojans, for coming. I saw Gavians early on. Gavians, we so much appreciate. Student Loan Trust Fund, I saw Mrs. Evelyn, and the guys out there doing a yeoman's job for us. We are particularly grateful to all of you. And if we live here, we do not live in despair. We live with the hope that tomorrow will be great and it will be good for us. And to my own wonderful self, I say thank you to myself for coming. With a background in political science and strategic communication, I'm saying today that I'm happy to have hosted you throughout the period. My name is Evans Boahen, and when we meet out there, we can have a fruitful conversation towards leadership as well as communication. I'm very grateful for today. Shall we now welcome the chairman to give us his closing remarks?
Thank you very much. Before I say anything, I just want to call on Mr. Ajenim. There is something that he said about the loan trust fund, yes, loan trust. Okay, so, but we need some clarification, so I will invite him to do so before we continue.
Hello, I can use this. Hello. Yes, so I think there was miscommunication somewhere regarding the questions. We have two packages. We have the no fee stress and the loan itself. So I was answering the questions on the background of the no fee stress. The loans now is Loan Plus. We used to have about 71 million Ghana cedis allocations from Get Fund. Now it's been increased to 150 million Ghana cedis. And so if you were getting 4,000 cedis from student loan in form of loan, now it can be increased to 8,000. If you are getting 1,000 cedis, simply you can get 2,000. So the loan disbursement, even right now, I've received a message from student loan. If you receive a message without getting money or without money hitting your account, it is a process. We'll first send you the message. then the bank process starts. And so you can receive a message today and then get the bank alert on Monday or Tuesday. The messages are from student loan. The bank alerts are from GCB. So these are the issues. And then for the pending disbursement and then pending processing. With the loan, when it is pending processing, it means there is a communication between student loan and the bank. When it is pending processing, it means there is a communication between student loan and the bank, which means that you are at the last stage of receiving your payment through the bank. These are the clarifications. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you now find your feet. So thank you very much for coming. I think we have come to the end of the conference. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the very useful and inspiring seminar. Today, we have been reminded that leadership begins with personal discipline, respect for learning, service to others, and a clear vision for the future. All the speakers say a whole lot. And one thing that I want you to remember is that change is possible, no matter who you are and where you come from. That is what we have made to understand today. If you want to change, you can change. The little mind will say it is not possible. Once you say to yourself, it is possible, no matter what, you get to your destination. All of them have said a whole lot. The minister said that we cannot memorize our way through to solve poverty issues. So we have to critically think before we can serve ourselves well and serve others as well. On behalf of the organizers and all participants, I sincerely thank Dr. Osei Awaduchum and all other speakers that they have availed themselves for this wonderful talk. Those of you who are here, and the last speaker said something, that it be possible that you are not interested in the program that you are doing now, and that you were forced into it. Yes, you were forced into the program, you were forced into where you find yourself. But nobody can imprison your power of imagination and what you can become tomorrow. Thank you very much for coming. I know you work through and you will make sure what you have received here will not come to naught, and you will use it for purposes which it came. Thank you very much for coming. The next time that you hear the voice like this, you honor it, and then it will be useful to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Simon Che. You have been a wonderful chairman for today's event. Please be informed that there is an event coming up, and I'm sure most of us have had the opportunity to see flyers of it. It is the Brand You. Brand You, I believe we have all heard about it. This is being organized under the auspices of the SRC, particularly the Public Relations Officer for the SRC. This program is happening on the 27th of June at the North Assembly Hall. In fact, beyond leadership, one thing that becomes paramount is how you brand yourself as a leader, how you portray yourself out there, and how people see you. Your brand is you, and what is represented out there is who you really are. How do we shape the narrative of how people think about us? How do we shape the narrative? How do we prepare ourselves for future opportunities? These are the very important conversations we are going to have as part of the Brand You, and so you can't be left out. Make sure you are there as a leader, as an upcoming leader, and someone who aspires to be a leader tomorrow. you won't regret coming, and I'm sure you are coming. And so let's put our hands together for ourselves once again. Thank you for waiting all through until now. At this point, we take the closing prayer, and I invite my very own brother and the former president for the Political Science Students Association, Mr. Kingsley Kakari Poache, to lead us in the closing prayer. As he comes, we have also with us the Chief of Staff for National Service executives across Ghana, so national, in the person of, I've forgotten the name, that's, help me, Akufu Charles Leaford, yes. Sir, please give us a way, we want to see you. He is a master's student with the Conflict, Human Rights and Peace Studies, University of Education, Winneba. We are grateful for your presence. Thank you, KKB.
Please, shall we be on our feet. Kindly join me in the spirit and close your eyes. Father, we thank you for the session we have just completed. We know that there are times for everything in this world. We give you glory for every life touched today. The lessons we've learned, we commit our next step into your hands. That whatever we've heard, whatever we know, whatever thing we are taking home today, you protect and guide us. Into your hands we commit our journey, that whoever will be picking a car, whatever food we are eating this day, you bless it and sanctify. Guide us and lead us not into temptation. Through your Son, Jesus Christ, we ask this. Amen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, if you have any problem with respect to student loan, either registration, you have had challenges whilst you are going through the process, or whatever situation it is, the Student Loan Trust Fund desk is out there. Kindly move from here